Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Xbox Nation. It is Wednesday night, 8 p.m. on the dot, so we are exactly on time as it changes to 8:01, but still, we're on time, people, so you can't complain and say, hey, when's it starting, crap? Is it going to start yet? Hey, crap, when's it starting? Crap, when's it start? Right? That's what I get all the time in the chat. They're like, when's it starting, crap? So anyway, we are live, and we have a lot of good stuff to talk about, a lot of news breaks over the holiday. So we're going to be able to talk about that since there was no BGST, there was no TXR. There's been pretty much no podcast up to this point to this week, with the exception of Console Corner on 4th of July in the morning. So we're happy to go through a bunch of news and stuff. But let me introduce everybody first. Dealer, what's up, man?
Oh, don't introduce me first. That's weird.
Okay, Hellhammer. What's up, Hellhammer?
Not much. Just playing a lot of
Just botting on a Wednesday night.
probably.
Beep, beep, boop, boop. Mooch, what's up, bro?
buddy? What's
How
up?
you doing?
Crap's like, let me go to the guy with a working mic. What's going on, everybody? No, great to be on Xbox Nation. Yeah, I mean, just as luck may have it, this is a week of interesting news, crap. Not a whole lot of like groundbreaking stuff, but definitely stuff that I think the community wants to hear us chime in about. So I'm excited.
There's
to get into it.
megatons. Let's not kid people.
Tons
There's
of megatons.
tons of
out there.
megatons.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Megatons. Nukem, how you doing, man?
Hey man, it's Nif Nukem. It's going to be a great show. Yeah, it's been a little bit light on podcast overall this week, so hopefully we can pick up the slack, get the ball rolling, so to speak. And I do believe everybody's favorite yokel is in the house. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Cleany's here.
But he's
You guys share a mic. You guys must sit pretty close to each other, huh?
Yeah.
All the time I can
Cletus
smell.
sitting on your lap there, Noof.
Yeah.
Oh, he's right next to it, man.
Oh,
And I can
man.
smell his BO.
You're a good friend, man. And then, of course, Dealer Gaming. Welcome.
Beep, boop, 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 motherfucker. Yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight's show, the best podcast on Wednesday at 8 p.m. precisely.
Yes.
For those asking in the chat, yeah, at 7:58, it's not going to start most likely. It'll be 8 o'clock every time, Eastern time. So, yeah, good topics. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Hellhammer, did you get your mic situation fixed?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about, Hellhammer. You got that stuff all cranked out.
You know what the problem is I fucked up and I put it on the USB 2 port instead of the 3.
Yeah, that would be your bad, man. So yeah, you should flog yourself and go stand in the corner. But you can wait till after the show to do that if you want. So yeah, like I was talking a little bit before, and we're gonna let the audience build up a bit. I was playing some VR over the 4th of July, right? And because I had picked up Rigs and a couple other VR games on sale. Yes, I got Rigs. I got that game strictly so I could go. I got Rigs. Right. And so I'm playing this game and I'm like, this is so cool. And then like when you get into like some of the combat and stuff like that, it moves super fast. And because you can fully move around in your rig, and it's like, you know, a lot of the VR games that I've played you haven't really been able to move, like fully explore. But this is like you can move. It's like a game. It's like a Call of Duty in a battle mech. Yeah. So it moves so fast that I got motion sick and I threw up. I was like, holy crap. So I was like, man.
It's very easy for someone like myself who's been kind of the other side of the corner. Yeah. Instead of me just going and being like, I told you so, that's boring. You know, everyone's come to accustomed to people doing that all the time. Here's the thing, though, right, crap? I mean, now can we start? Now you've had enough of a sample size, okay? The honeymoon's over with VR. And what I said initially, when it was still a pie in the sky kind of concept, nobody was really talking about VR like it was going to be this thing to stick around for a long time. This is a problem with VR. VR is a honeymoon, okay? And once the honeymoon's over, you don't want. And now that you've had this effect with the vomiting and the nausea, it's not exactly something you can't wait to jump back into, right? I mean, are you a little bit more hesitant now?
The next day, I jumped back in, right, and I was playing like that. I was playing VR Worlds where you can like do the dive and you can play like the space stuff. But the stuff that was like really fast paced, again, I had issues with, and I got kind of nauseous on. So what I did was I just stuck to more of the linear stuff that wasn't as quick moving, like the luge. Holy crap. I felt like I was going to die, but Hellhammer loved that stuff. And he, you know what I mean? Like he had a really good time playing that stuff.
Hellhammer, let me ask Hellhammer, did you really enjoy it? Or did you just, I don't know, how do I say, you know, when you're at a barbecue, we were at 4th of July, a lot of people were like, hey, I put up a volleyball net. And you know, you're like, hey, when in Rome, right? Because like I'm never sitting home on a Saturday afternoon and I'm like, anybody want to pitch up the old volleyball net for a fucking go around? No, I don't want to do that. But if I go over to someone's house and they're grilling and they got it up, I'll definitely get it on a 6v6. My point being is that Hellhammer, did you enjoy it because it was that barbecue, that moment in time, or is this something when you were at work today, you're like, can't wait to get home and luge?
I mean, that's tough to say, really, right? Like, I think that using the luge or those kind of games as an example is pretty bad. But there has been times where I'm like, man, like playing that
VR world, that scavenger
that VR
part,
worlds, that scavenger part, that was really cool. And I'll say that was actually something that like I would play a full game like that.
Hellhammer was going, whoa, this is cool. Whoa! Exactly. Hellhammer was doing that.
Well, wait, here, let's talk about that. Let's break it down, Crap. What is that scavenger thing? What's going on?
Okay, it's like a generic kind of space thing, really, but they did a good job with it. So you're like in this ship, and then you're on this mech that's like scavenging space, and there's like these enemies and stuff like that. So you're kind of going around, and it's cool because you can jump and you can like move all around and like, you know, and fire your weapons and stuff like that. But it's kind of weird the way you can like, and it's disorienting the way you can kind of walk up places and stuff like that. Right. So it's like anything where you can look over the edge of something, I have trouble with.
Yeah.
So that's not for me. Hellhammer was just like, whoa, man, this is awesome. Like was playing it for like 45 minutes. I mean, he beat the first part. So he was like, yeah, man, this is awesome. So he was enjoying that. And I was like, you can't even deny you were having fun with that shit. Yeah. And he was.
Yeah, that was actually good. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say something's bad or whatever, but that was actually fun. I mean, some of those ones in there kind of But, I mean, overall, I think at this point, especially if you could get it on sale, I mean, I would say it'd be worth purchasing some sort of VR at this point.
Yeah, Mooch, I'm telling you, $450. There you go. I pointed you out to that.
I love how you guys, you know, you should really send something out that says sale, no sale. There is absolutely nothing cheap about these prices. People keep sending them to me, like, because even shout out to Neff. I don't know if Neff's going to be listening, but he's like, I want to send this to you, Mooch, before Crap does it. And it was $4.99 or something, and I'm like, it came with Resident Evil. I'm like, it's still not a sale. Like, I don't know. This thing needs to be.
You should have taken advantage. You should have taken advantage of that kick-ass GameStop sale, because that was good. That was really a good sale.
What kick-ass GameStop?
They were doing the 70% trade-in or whatever.
Yeah, but what would I trade in to get like to $500? I'd have to trade in like a left arm.
Rand, didn't you see Rand's video? Like, yeah, shout out Rand.
Listen, look, there's no greater fan. First of all, everyone that did that, my hat goes off to you, and you do realize a little Mooch isn't everybody. But listen, here's the thing. I do want to say this. I'm proud of everyone that did it. That's a little look. When you get to the age of Mooch, and I've been doing that's a lot of work. I talked to people that did this crap. Some of them went up to 6 different stores to get these high numbers. Okay, to get these $500, $600, $700.
That wouldn't even have been a problem here, because literally, I just didn't have a chance to go do it because I didn't have the time. But there's literally a GameStop with a Walmart right next to each other. Like, you could walk.
Yeah, but you're talking about the same spiel, Hellhammer. You got to go in and be like, hi, I want to return these. And you think they're not like privy to it and they haven't been told. But people were saying they were having a hard time with some of them. Like, we're not doing that, sir. Sorry. That's, you know, and some people were like, some didn't care. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to walk in and out of 6, 7 different places, be like, hi, I'm here for the, you know, dude, I bought these yesterday.
That's what you do.
That's not mooching, though. That's not mooching. Mooching is borrowing with the intent to return. Okay? That's what mooching is. This is
you mooched. What the hell is that damn game that you've been asking
Shovel
for?
Knight.
Yeah, how are you gonna give that back?
In entertainment and one-liners and podcasts. I don't know, but I mean, no, it's
shoveling of shit and Shovel Knight will attack.
No, like I said, I think anyone that did it, it's great. I really do. I'm not gonna even give you a butt, or you shouldn't have. I'm telling you, I'm just not gonna go to Walmart, then Target, buy 7 games, not these games, only these games from this specific list. Then walk in, have a manager at GameStop tell me to scram, go to another one. You know, I'm not doing. I mean, that's just, to me, that's too much, bro. That's too much.
Hey, I think you have to like a lot of them just maybe went to one place, like one Walmart, and then got the games and then took it into GameStop and was able to do that. So I think Rand got over $500 worth off $150. Man, you could have got a PlayStation VR for $150, dude.
Right. And then I would have probably returned that the next day. I don't know. For some reason, I just go ahead, Noob.
I just wanted to officially say I don't need to go in and buy a PSVR because honestly, every day I can get my pants on, I'm like, whoa!
I warned you, Noof. Get all the bad jokes out of the way. That was iffy, but still, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Okay, so Yamauchi, the GT Sport guy, right? He said that the GT Sport car models are unmatched anywhere in the world, and they'll still be used in the next PlayStation, right? He said the models that we use for... Hold on, let me finish. Noof, you're Darth Vadering.
Yeah.
What?
Is that me?
Yeah. No,
Is it me?
he's Darth Vader like
that?
he does on Xbox Live.
Yeah, that was great. Remember, Noof was like, "It is not me," and dealer was like, "I'm pretty sure the mic is somewhere up their left nostril. I'm not sure where it went." And Noof was like, "It's
Jesus
not
Christ,
me."
can you just take the microphone out of your fucking asshole? Come on.
Exactly.
great.
So this is what he says: the models that we use for Gran Turismo Sport now, these models will probably support generations of consoles beyond the PS4 and PS4 Pro. The level of data will probably carry us for the next 10 years or so. I think because the level of precision of these models is unmatched anywhere in the world right now. The only models that are higher in quality of what we have here in the world would be CAD models coming straight from manufacturers, which cannot be rendered in real time, obviously. So for models that can be rendered in real time, this really is the best data you'll find anywhere in the world. So, yeah, I got to call bullshit on that, though, because I think that it's pretty obvious that Gran Turismo Sport, especially in comparison to Forza Motorsport 7, looks absolutely like shit.
Well, I just find the funniest part about it all, and I really want Dealer to talk on this because as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I started watching Dealer's channel because of all his Forza coverage, and he played the game in depth. But I thought what was really funny is the generations, because here we are almost 65% through this generation, and we haven't even gotten a GT game yet. So, so when he says generations, does he just mean one per?
I've been using the same car models now over and over again. So, I mean...
Yeah, well, if you remember, when they were just going to make Gran Turismo 7, they were talking about still using PS2 renders. And if you remember in the GT games on the PS3, they use PS2 renders. Yep. Right, and they didn't have cockpit modes or anything like that. But all the fanboys used to go 800 cars, 900 cars, and I'm like, how many premium cars? Because those meant like new cars where you could actually do cockpit view and stuff. 102. Oh wow! So they managed to port in all those cars from the PS2 era, and you guys are super excited about that. I'm glad. I hope it works out for you. So, like, to me, these guys are so full of shit. They're relevant. They're the least relevant car game out right now, in my opinion. Least relevant. Like, Dealer, what are your thoughts on this, man? This guy's obviously off his rocker.
Well, didn't you read the box crap? It says the real driving simulator underneath it, right? So it's got to be. You know, the sack on this guy, as tiny as it may or may not be, he's got some courage to say this kind of stuff, being dominated like he has been by Forza, both critically and in terms of sales overall. It's pretty bad, but nonetheless, I heard a similar thing from Project Cars. Those guys.
Oh man!
Try not to laugh here, but those guys are like, it's the most technically advanced physics, blah blah blah. It's like, shut the fuck up! Like, your games aren't even close. And after 5 years of development on Sport, you've got 140 cars, 15 tracks, and a whole lot of who gives a fuck. So, like I said, it's a non-contest here. Forza's got it, 700 cars, 30-plus tracks, 4K 60, as opposed to 1800p checkerboard up to 4K at not a locked 60 so far, with very few cars and tracks. It's just, you can't compare them, and I really doubt that these guys are coming anywhere near the detail in the car models, let alone the physics, which is what people really care about. And I'm hoping these guys see that one day.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting.
Sorry, go ahead, Crap.
I'm just going to say, because somebody just tweeted me, somebody did a YouTube comparison of Forza 7 versus GT Sport. And obviously, I'm watching this on a 1080p monitor. But even on that, Forza 7 just looks much crisper, much clearer, real. I mean, this game looks insane. GT Sport, you know, I hate to say this, looks like basically a PS3 game.
And if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't have dynamic weather either. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I want this game to be decent. This is where I came from, Gran Turismo. We all came from Gran Turismo. And there was no competition back then, and it was the king, admittedly. But competition spurs innovation, and Turn 10 are working with Calspan and literally companies that everyone has to work with. These are the guys that produce tire modeling data. This is where the tire manufacturers get their data from, is Cowspan. And that's where Turn 10 went, and they're working with them, and it shows. And they've got an extremely high refresh on their physics engine as well. That shows. And like I said, now it's to the point where I'm really excited to see them go head-to-head for the first time ever in reviews. I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? This is a good thing that they are going to go head-to-head in the views. As we cross 500 watching, hit the like button, man. I appreciate it, you guys. Thanks for coming out. I really do appreciate everybody coming out and supporting the show and things like that. So, yeah, it was interesting because usually they kind of avoid each other, right? Like, if you remember, Drive Club avoided Forza Horizon 2 like the plague. They just absolutely didn't want to release that game around that same time. They pulled it from the stage at E3. They didn't show Gran Turismo Sport at E3 this year. How could you? How could you? Right? Because people are going to, and these things are starting to float out now. You're starting to see the comparison videos, GT Sport versus Forza Motorsport 7, and it's not even a thing anymore. I mean, the only thing that Sony fans can really hang on at this point is sales, because I guess the sales of the GT series back in the day was high, but that doesn't equate to a good game. And obviously, the GT series hasn't been relevant for a very, very long time. And it's just funny.
Did you see All Day's comment? He says, "Relax, all day, you fraud." We've all said the same thing off air. You know, Gran Turismo, it is what it is. I mean, it's a Sony game. It's not out yet. We don't want to shit on it too bad, but at the same time, we can all acknowledge that it just looks really horrible. The maps rotate underneath the cars.
I'm with Dealer on one thing, and maybe that's what All Day's alluding to is, you know, we can relax and this and that. But here's the thing: say what you will, and if you like GT Sport, that's fine. But you know, as Zaire says, what you eat don't make no one else shit. But the point of the matter is this: GT Sport and the GT series is now playing second fiddle to Forza, and that's just that's not even me who plays sport car games. I don't do the racing simulator thing. But I have an appreciation for both companies, and you can clearly see that. Listen, I like Pepsi over Coke.
What the hell mooch is this?
What?
It's hard-ass mooch, man. Come on. That GT game looks like shit.
Buddy, you're talking to a guy who's put in about 17 minutes of racing car simulating gaming. The last time, the closest thing to racing car simulator I got to was F-Zero, okay?
Hey, you probably got about the same amount of time as this guy named Top Dog. He says, "Does Forza have pit stops?" No! And actually, it does have pit stops. Yes, it always has had pit stops.
Just so you know, like, there's no competition. Look, Forza Motorsport 7, 4K 60, actually per that thing today, that thing could hit 90 frames per second, 4K, but they back it off, obviously, to 60, so it's going to be a lock 60. So they're able to get a 4K 60 FPS on the One X off that game, yet the PS4 Pro is going to do some kind of half-ass checkerboard, not even lock 60 on theirs. And their game only has, 170 cars? What?
Money.
I think you're all right now.
I think you're good now, though, bro.
Yeah, you're okay now.
You're turning into a fucking Decepticon in the middle.
He sounded like he got hit with that tranquilizer dart from Old School, and he was like,
Hey, but I want people to understand too that we might be pretty harsh on Gran Turismo, but that's because we want more competition. Admittedly, Forza's had pretty much the same upgrades for almost a decade. I'd like to see more innovation on their end as well. And the better Gran Turismo and Project Cars do, that's why we have dynamic weather this time around. Project Cars had it last time. Right. You know, it's competition that spurs this innovation. So we want to see them do better.
Exactly. I mean, I got to agree with like Dealer. Look, guys, we're not kidding anybody here. Most of us all had a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. We grew up on the Gran Turismo series. It's not like we're just hating for the sake of, we're just hating it. Like, we're just calling a spade here. Like, you got to face it. I feel sorry for people that are huge fans of Gran Turismo, because for a company that's taken so long to get a game out that goes back and uses recycled materials over and over and over again and gives you such a poor, shoddy effort compared that the competition has successfully and each and every year. I mean, these Forza games come out every 2 years and they keep topping themselves. It's almost impossible. I mean, I thought Forza Horizon 2, for example, couldn't get much better. And man, and yet they come out and they blow it out of the water with Forza Horizon 3. Forza 7 is looking absolutely dynamite. It embarrasses every other racer that's pretty much coming out this year, and that's saying something considering that there's some pretty cool looking stuff coming out. So like, you know, you have to ask Sony, they have to be better. You have to make it known that, guys, like we you know, you guys need to bring it. When you've been in development this long and you still can't say, compared to the competition, something seems very wrong with that picture. I mean, come on, it's GT Gran Turismo. It's literally one of your most well-known franchises. It's pretty popular across the world, and you don't even show it on your main stage. What does that tell you? That says something there.
Noof, what you're saying and what you're preaching to is, like, have you ever seen anybody when you walk into a public bathroom and it's like a tall building where there's a lot of offices, you see a guy giving himself a motivational speech in the mirror. He's like, "You can do it. Go in there and do it. You go do that." That's the same thing you just said, because the problem is that Sony fans don't relay the message to Sony or to the developers. They eat humble pie and they're okay with what they get. And I'll give you an example. Me and Saji, shout out to Saji, but we've been playing through Neo, right? We're trying to get through Neo on PS4, and we can't get it so that, like, our headsets, and we have headsets that are capable of it, to actually find the setting to where you can actually hear yourself talk. And maybe the game doesn't allow it. We don't know. But anyway, Saji reached out to a bunch of his PS4 buddies, and and you know what they all said? "I don't even know if that exists. I'm not sure you can even do that. What is that?" We usually just scream as loud as possible into the mic. It sounds like I'm actually listening to myself through another wall in a different room because my sound doesn't come through the headset. And my point being with all of this is, you could say they need to do this and you need to get up there and be a motivational speaker. At the end of the day, nobody from Sony, this is what I'm saying. When we went out and asked people from Sony, how come I can't hear my own voice through the headset? They're like, "Is that even a thing?" Yeah, it's a thing.
Is that some kind of alien technology? What is it?
They're like, "What is it you guys are talking about? What is this?" I mean, so my point being is that they eat humble pie. So that's the thing. That's why you see a lot of this turmoil and this stuff that goes on in the Xbox communities, because Xbox people attack Xbox people and Xbox stuff.
We're
and
our own
over there.
enemies.
we are. And then you go over to the Sony side and they're like, "Hey guys, we were going to give you 500 cars. We decided to do 120 because we thought it was better." They're like, "Great. 120 is my lucky number from college."
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so like, what? All right.
You know,
Cool.
I bet you if I said something simple like Forza Horizon 3 could have been so much better if it had cops in it, right? There would be people in the comments like, "No, I don't want cops," right? Like, they're very opinionated about the quality of their games and what they would like to see. And by the way, it would have been much better with cops. But anyways, yeah, you know, they're very opinionated group of people that just want the best and more features every year. That'd be great.
Take a cue from Electronic Arts people. At one point in time, believe it or not, NBA Live was a premier basketball franchise. But you know what? They dropped the ball literally. 2K has run away with it ever since. And at least EA had the balls to say, you know what? We're not going to keep making a game that's subpar.
You're Darth Vadering.
Yeah, probably.
He said, "Yeah,
probably, you asshole. Come on, let's clean it up, folks. Clean it up. I know you missed last week, but damn, you know the rules, man. Keep that sound clean. Let's go."
Oh shit!
People sounding like a fucking Darth Vader in here. Your father. I mean, you're a skinny dude, man, breathing like me over there. Come on, let's get it together.
A little donut powder around the nose there.
He's like, I mean, come on, bro. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about something that Dealer you talked about as well. Phil Spencer said that there are going to be comparison videos between games this summer between Xbox One and Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Which again, I think this is a great thing because we did see Xbox One X games at E3, but we didn't see any comparisons. Like, I would have liked to seen Forza 7 on a standard Xbox One versus
they're not going to compare against themselves. That's something Aaron Greenberg has said directly. They don't want to compare against themselves, which I think is great because that means they're going to compare against the PS4 or the PC or whatever. I'm sure they will do a little bit of it, but they're going to try to avoid that.
There'll be enough people to do that as well. You know, like a lot of people.
Because they don't want to say, "Hey, this is what it looks like in the Xbox One S, and then this is the Xbox One X." They're not going to sell, you know, all that many Xbox One S's, right? Yeah. So, of course, they're going to try to compare it against the PlayStation version, which is going to be awesome. I heard it's going to be around Gamescom. They released this apparent footage. But I would like them to be a little smarter with like their little True 4K trailer. They didn't mention Injustice. They didn't mention a ton of games that are getting patches. And I'm wondering why they're not mentioning this stuff in these trailers. Yeah. So hopefully they do a comprehensive trailer that goes through most of, if not all of them, I think the hardcore guys that are interested in the Xbox One X would appreciate a side-by-side of most of these games.
So wait, so dealer, you're saying is they're not going to do comparisons on the S versus the X. They're going to do the X
first
versus
party stuff.
It will be first party.
Yeah.
Well, they're looking to do, I guess, third party stuff, right?
Yeah. According to Aaron Greenberg, they don't want to compare against themselves too much because you don't want to show how much weaker something you're selling people is than something else they're selling people, right? Like,
yeah, I get you.
It kind of leaves a stigma on the base platform, but it makes sense. It's what other companies have done in the past, and as long as they compare them, I want to know how much better these games I've been playing for years should have looked had this thing come out in 2013, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. That's what people want to see. They don't necessarily know how Assassin's Creed Origins is going to look because it's a brand new game. It's a given that it's going to look better, right? You want to know how much better The Witcher would have looked if you would have played it on the X back when it came out, right? That game's been out for a while, so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Now, we know The Witcher 3 is going to get a patch. They've announced some of these games are going to get patches or whatever, but I always find it interesting that people want to act like the X because it does, because what they think checkerboarding means the same. Like if two games, if an Xbox One X version and a PS4 Pro version are both checkerboarding on the same game, they're not going to look the same, no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm. And there's only two checkerboarded games right now. I would invite anybody to link more in the chat. That'd be awesome. But yeah, there's only about 2 right now confirmed. Of course, there will be more over the coming year or so. But things like Assassin's Creed Origins will be using checkerboarding as well as dynamic resolution. It's a combo. It's pretty interesting. But they've already confirmed the best version there with graphics, the best draw distance, things like that. So yeah, your argument's flawed there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not only just that, right? Like again, because I've said multiple times that resolution isn't what matters, and you can even go back and listen to multiple of these videos in the Xbox Nations where I've said that, where I'd prefer the higher assets, which that's what's going to make the difference. So if you're running it, say even just as offhand, 1800p checkerboard it for both the Pro and the One X version, the One X version is going to have much better jaw distances, much better texture rates and everything like that on there as well.
That's Xbox One 4K says it perfectly. Even if we both get checkerboarded games, the Xbox One X version is going to look better. It's going to have higher fidelity. And if you're listening to developer interviews, like the one I covered today on my channel, these guys are saying it's night and day performance, and they go into a bit of detail as to why that is. It's kind of
that company dealer that worked a lot with Sony's platform, in the past,
like they
right?
recently
Sumo
did
Digital, They did Little Big Planet 3. They're working on Dead Island 2 right now on PS4 and Xbox One. Snake Pass. So they've worked with the Pro as well. Now they're working on the One X, obviously. He said, this is what that guy said from Sumo Digital. He says, we've got something like 15,000 simultaneous props moving around in our game. Now that the Xbox One X just props that they're talking about.
Well, I mean, here's the way I look at it, Crap. You've got what I've picked up from watching Dealer's video, some of yours today, and doing a little reading myself is everyone's just judging what we saw at E3. They're like, oh my God, E3. There's a couple games that are actually still going to do checkerboarding. Listen, I got news for you. This is just coming out of the box now, folks. There's people like Sumo who just got their hands. They're like, dude, we got our hands on this bad boy. This thing's crazy. You have Respawn, Sumo, the people from Arc, everybody, anybody that's classified as an indie or a single A developer is fucking whoa every time they're crap gamering with their VR experience with this new fucking Xbox One X, and like this is not there's a couple people in the chat being like damage control and here they go damage control the major.
Well, I'd ask them to send us a
happening.
Link. I'd ask them to send us a link, Mooch. That's what I'd ask them.
Yeah, listen. The point I'm trying to say is that this is just starting. And what Albert Pinello said in an interview that was done a few weeks back, and now it's getting little press, it's not getting major coverage, is that, and I don't like how Crap uses the word, but it is the correct way to put it. He
future-proof.
Future-proof, right?
Yeah.
The reason I don't like that is people assume future-proof is a decade. It's not a decade, folks. It's 3, 4, 5 years at most. 5 is maximum. What it is that this box has tremendous power. They know that it does. The developers are seeing it. You're not seeing. You're like, well, Mooch, if it's so much power, why are they checkerboarding Assassin's Creed? Because of the parity shit, folks. That's still going to exist for a little while. But if Sony happens to do a 2019 or an early 2020 PS5, the Xbox One X will keep up with the PS5 halfway decently until 12 months later when Scorpio 2, Xbox 2, Xbox One X Bart comes out, whatever they want to call it. So my point being is it is kind of future-proof. It will get Microsoft enough power to be able to wait. And when Sony wants to go out for PS5, Microsoft will be ready with its successor.
Hey, I hear you, Mooch, there with the Assassin's Creed thing, but there's just not enough information there. None of that's been confirmed. It wasn't using the newest SDK.
That is true.
The extra gigabyte. And I'm waiting for
right.
Ubisoft to tell us what is checkerboarding from or whatever.
Right.
But ultimately, I think that the game will remain checkerboarded. Assassin's Creeds have always been damn demanding on PC hardware. Even Watch Dogs, they're checkerboarding that on consoles now. 900p checkerboard on Xbox One and 1080p checkerboard on PS4, I do believe. Ubisoft need to learn how to get the most out of their software, because it's like they got a checkerboard just to make a game where everyone else is fine at 900p, 1080p on the base consoles and getting away with just as good of, if not better looking games. So Ubisoft, they're just not very efficient. They really need to knock that down.
Yeah, I mean, somebody in the chat right now, Crap, is like, it would be suicide if PS5 came out next year. First of all, there's absolutely 0% chance it comes. 0.0. It's for next year. But let's just say, here's the thing. First of all, PS4 has got the lead where it doesn't have to worry about that. That's fine. We all said that a million times. But if the X ends up starting to gain some ground, not ground like it's going to beat PS4, but it just gains ground that makes Sony uncomfortable. I personally think if someone was to say, here, Mooch, this is what Sony's handbook looks like, 2020 is when you could probably expect the PS5 to come out, that November. If the X does ridiculously well in the next 2 years, maybe you'll see a late 2019 or an early 2020 release. But the thing is that, like I'm saying, Phil's already on record a year ago. He said this right after the Scorpio reveal last E3, not this past one, the one before it. He said, we're already working on the successor to Xbox, Scorpio. So, like, what he's saying is we're ready now. We're ready. And Crap has done a number of numerical analysis to find out that if Sony wanted to do something as powerful or more powerful off the shelf, if you think $499 is a lot of money, get ready. Because if Sony wanted to do something any earlier, it would be way more than $499 to beat the power.
To be fair, real quick, that wasn't Crap that did that. That was Digital Foundry. Like, people probably wouldn't trust Crap doing that numerical analysis, but Digital Foundry was like.
Well, I watched your video and I prefer you over Ledbetter.
I thought it was Capital Foundry.
Capital Foundry. That's coming soon.
He's pretty true on that though. On the Digital Foundry side of that, right? Like, tech isn't moving fast enough and getting cheap enough, fast enough, at least as it sits right now, to be at what would be considered a console being an entry-level pricing point or something for the average consumer. I mean, that's just how it goes, right? Like, people have been waiting on Vega to come out now on the PC side. We're still waiting.
Right.
This guy says Sony had more power and a cheaper box. I don't understand why people don't just take 2 seconds to think that extra millisecond worth of thought. There was a Kinect. That's why it was cheaper, okay? So, I mean, there's a reason for these things. It's pretty simple in that regard.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because everybody thought, well, PS5, they're so obsessed with having the power narrative that they don't stop to think that, just coming out with hardware after hardware probably isn't the best thing for the industry.
Yeah, Crap. Not just that, but let's be honest. The next 3 months they're hard for both. This is hard for Xbox fans and Sony fans. It's hard for Xbox fans because we know what we're going to be getting. We see the peacocking going on around the industry from the devs and the Xbox executives. And it's hard for Sony fans because this is them having to let go. They've got to let go of the power. They're not going to have the power ring anymore. They're not going to have it. And so it's harder. It's hard for both. Like, we're sitting here being like, just wait. And the Sony fans are like, yeah, just wait. Sure, whatever. And it's like they got to realize that when you have, believe me, guys, this is a shout out to all the Sony guys. If you don't don't believe us, watch Digital Foundry. You think it's hard how hard it is for them to give Xbox a compliment? Trust me, if they're giving a compliment to an Xbox One X, that is just telling you that the power crown is going over to Xbox for the next 2 to 3 years, conceivably. So, I mean, you have to look at it. Don't take our word for it. I don't care. You can all be like, oh, this is damage control to Major Tom. All right, it's fine. Whatever. That's fine. But
everything's damage control to those lunatics.
But just go check out our buddy Ledbetter, who actually has to eat fucking blood pressure medicine as he gives Xbox a compliment. He's like, it's going to be powerful. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Hey, Chad Main says Microsoft need a Naughty Dog. Hey, nobody here saying they don't need a Naughty Dog.
I agree with that.
I agree. Naughty Dog is one of the best games in the industry, in my opinion, and I've been pretty damn vocal about that. But when it comes to PS5, there's absolutely zero reason for that thing to exist until they start using Raven Ridge and Bristol Ridge GPUs. Those 2 APU sets are supposed to be using Ryzen cores, because I do believe that 60 frames per second mandated on every game, or something like that, where 95% or more of the games are running 60, is the next great divider. And I don't think we're there here. So I think that's going to be the main way that PlayStation 5 has to differentiate itself from the Xbox One X, regardless of the T-flop count.
The other thing we have to do is you gotta debunk this other guy who's actually, he's really funny. I mean, he trolls us and stuff, but he's awesome. Like Kev Garcia in the chat, he's like, only 10% of people have a 4K TV. Like, do me a favor, Kev. Like, grab your cell phone, walk into Best Buy, and be like, "Hi, I want a 1080p TV," and watch that they actually ask you to leave the building. Like, there is no 1080. Like, 4K is everywhere now. I was just in Best Buy over the weekend. The 4th of July, like, even the top end, the tippy top end OLED 4Ks all took a $500-600 drop this weekend on sale. Like, it's everywhere. Don't believe me. Go to Amazon.
I'll do you one better,
check it out.
I would just ask him to take that same phone out and open Google and actually research that before you make claims.
Yeah. I mean, go out on Black Friday or see what the #1 most bought thing was last Black Friday. It was a 4K TV. Everybody's moving up to 4K. Microsoft.
You don't have to look at these sales days, though, right? Like, you don't have to look at where they drop the prices. Just go at any day of the week to any big box retailer and see what the majority of their TVs are now.
Right. Well, but I mean, again, let's just play the game. Let's say 10% only 10% have 4K TVs. That's fine. But if you're walking in to buy a TV from today to the next 4 years, you're not going to walk in and say 720p, please. Or 1080.
I would say like let's 10% of who? Of how many? Of 300 million?
Don't go by the gaming media in California. They don't have any TVs. Period.
Well,
hey,
hold on. Yeah, they put up
this, right? Even if it's only 10% of people who have a 4K TV in the United States, that's still higher than the amount of people on Steam who are playing in 4K.
Mm-hmm. 4K is the next media standard. You can't get around that by making excuses for yourself. Just because you don't have one doesn't mean most people in this chat probably don't, right? By 2020, I do believe it's 50% of American households will have a 4K TV, and it's growing much faster than 1080p. And just because you were the one asshole with a 720p TV when 1080p was becoming the new standard doesn't mean developers should hold back everyone else because you're still on the lower end display.
Also, guess what? You don't need a 4K to take advantage of the One X. I'm just saying, you absolutely don't need to.
Even Chad Main says 4K is awesome. There you go.
It is. I mean, it's amazing. Like,
I can't see how anybody who's under the age of 40, which is everybody pretty much. I mean, I shouldn't say even under the age of 50 that's in this chat right now. You
was like,
sorry, yeah. I mean, like, I would just say, like, how could you not realize that, like, it doesn't matter if someone says to you, hey, I have a 4K TV and a 1080p TV. Which one do you want? I mean, you're taking the 4K. We're progressing for. Listen, there was somebody else in the chat that was like, I'm gonna wait and see how the super sampling thing works out. What? Like, if your toaster dies, right, and then your parents are like, here's a two set toaster or a 4 when you go out, you're buying the 4 set toaster that holds 4 pieces of bread. Like, you're not going backwards, folks. I don't understand. Like, why is this so hard to understand? Do not listen to Ryan McCaffrey and Mitch, Mitch Dyer and his cardigan. Listen,
Bitch Dyer.
It's just the whole thing about these guys is they live in California. It's 85 degrees and beautiful there all the time. Maybe they don't have a TV culture. But you know what? Comcast, Spectrum, Verizon, Fios, these are just some small companies I'm naming here that make a lot of money on TV. So a lot of people.
I just wanted to cut in here and say, if you're real cheap like me, worst case scenario, you get a piece of cardboard, you cut out a 4K, you stick it on the TV, you sit real close, and magic will happen. And if that's not good enough for you, then what you got to do is you get a box of fucking Special K, because that's about all you fuckers are going forward for the next 20 years if you don't get on that gravy train.
We expected that joke at the beginning of the podcast, Noof.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was wrong with that, Noof? Come on.
Hang on. We're being fair on Noof. That was Cletus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Cletus. Yes. Hey, Noof, do us a favor. Smack Cletus on the back of the head. Tell him do better next time.
Oh, shit. What else we got in line for the people here, Crap?
Hey, well, there's always cool stuff to talk about. Actually, I wanted to talk about something real quick. It looks like Halo is gonna have some kind of announcement this week. Frank O'Connor said that it's going to be a good week according to him, for Halo fans. So I'm curious to hear what people think that might be. A lot of people speculating maybe they're going to announce that it's going to get a 1X enhancement, or
that's the most likely.
Yeah, I would say that's probably most likely 4K 60, right? I mean,
there's not going to be, because look, there's no sense in them announcing anything else major. They're not going to announce the next Halo game in the middle of the year without a major event.
Right.
And they're not going to release any kind of major DLC or add-ons or anything like that because the game's already complete. People are already playing it. So the only logical thing would be that there's going to be
the
1X update.
It better be. If it's you get a free hand, like, a few set of rec cards or something, it's going to be a disappointment. I mean, that's where we're at right now. And the fact that I don't understand why they wouldn't have said this at E3. Like, Halo should have been a huge, and Halo will be in 4K 60. Like, I don't know.
But it's Halo, and it's not fucking Crisis, so it's not good enough,
Right.
Well, it's funny to me because some people are speculating maybe they might announce a second season of DLC for the multiplayer or something along those lines, or it could be updates or whatever. Because if they do, both. Yeah, if they do decide to push Halo 6 back to 2019, they might have to come out with some new updates for the game. I just think. Why haven't they done any kind of story-driven DLC for those games? That to me is always a kind of a question.
No,
that's a good point.
I mean, honestly, it's because a lot of people who play Halo never even touch the story. The people who play competitively online.
I always play the story first, though.
Yeah, but you also got to think back to, right? Like when we were playing Call of Duty a lot, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, all those games. We were sitting there playing the story, and by the time we got done with that, everybody that we game with had already prestiged fucking once.
Yeah, I mean,
I was looking at because Fonz was playing Dead Space, and I was kind of going back through the Dead Space achievements for the original 360, and that is a story game. There's no multiplayer in Dead Space 1.
Yep.
Less than 36%, 38% of people actually beat that game. That is ridiculous, and that's after 10 years on the market. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, people really, I don't know. I don't get it. I buy a game and I want to play the story and really get my money's worth, but some people they don't care, man.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. That's the thing. With the multiplayer games, Call of Duty, Halo, Gears, that sort of stuff, there's the real hardcore people who will sit there and play through the story and then play the online mode, but there's a lot of people who just pick them up just to play the online only. That's it.
I'm more of a story guy. I play through the stories on those things first, man.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Even on Call of Duty, I like to see how the guns handle and stuff like that, and
learn the mechanics.
Yeah, I don't want to just jump into a multiplayer game and get my ass.
Oh yeah,
kicked.
I agree. That's how I am too. But you know firsthand how there's a lot of people who do that.
Noof.
Noof and Hellhammer will go back and forth with them.
They're like, I can breathe harder in the mic than you. No, I can breathe harder in the mic than you.
One of them's got their damn vacuum cleaner on. No, yeah, I can.
I can make way more noise and fuck up Crapgamer's podcast. Let's just see. Megaton. Sony caught using Anthem gameplay footage. Shout out to the Crapaholics that pointed this shit out. Yeah. That was very cool of them. They're like, crap. We got this big story for you, and I kept on getting messages and screenshots, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, because a lot of people send me stuff, and it's only so much you can cover. You're like, is this something you really want to do? So I didn't think anybody would give a shit. So I did this video and put it up at 1 a.m. So next thing you know, my phone's going off in the middle of the night because I keep getting alerts, and I was like, oh, okay. So the next morning, I saw that people were really running with this. So I was kind of surprised. And so if any of you haven't heard yet, Sony was using the Anthem gameplay. It was the exact gameplay that Microsoft had on their stage at E3. And even though the Xbox buttons were in this gameplay, right? And they photoshopped them out, but they didn't do a good enough job because you can still see them. And to me,
there was one little section. It's worth mentioning because some people watch it and you're lying. Yeah. No, there was one section before he deploys the mortar and the trees fall. You see it flicker at the bottom. You're like, hang on. You got to pause it. You got to rewind it for literally a split second. They appear there and then they disappear.
Yeah. I got a lot of messages and I got those pictures. And
why
did
Microsoft is the one that who apologized?
Well, no, Microsoft wouldn't apologize for that. So far, there's been no apologies. There's just been Sony took down the video,
Right.
I mean, you can play devil's advocate on this on both ways, though, right? Because it's an EA game, Sony can't publish this without EA's permission, so EA could have edited it and sent it or whatever. I mean, it's still up to them to double check this stuff, obviously. But
yeah,
at
watch the trailer, right?
Hellhammer sounds like a damn PS4 fanboy. It's not Sony's fault. They never do anything
I mean,
wrong.
I agree, and as I said on my take on it, you know, both companies have done this. Microsoft put up PS4 footage of Watch Dogs 2. Everyone's put up PC footage. My issue with the community is how big of hypocrites people are. Instead of saying, well, shit, this is kind of a fuck up on EA or Sony side, which, like I said, it could be EA. And I mentioned that in the video, and even I would still get hammered by these idiots that don't watch videos before they comment. But my issue was with, like I said, the hypocrisy. And instead of some ghoul-sounding motherfuckers in the community saying, well, you know, yeah, it's a fuck-up, they say, well, since it's got the bumpers, the R1, R2, L1, L2, it must not be Xbox footage in the first place. And that's just ridiculous to me. Because, you know, like I said, instead of giving Microsoft the benefit of the doubt, they'll do anything to go out of the way and say, well, Microsoft were just lying, even though Patrick Sutherland confirmed on film, on a YouTube video, that it was running in Xbox One X console mode with no extra compute units, with the same amount of memory bandwidth. This was doable on Xbox One X, and it was in real time. And like I said, it was mainly the kind of how big of hypocrites people were, combined with the fact that it was saying this is in-engine, blah, 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 on Sony's YouTube channel when it wasn't running on Sony's machine. So
I love Aaron Greenberg's tweet. Oops.
Yeah. So yeah, just kind of going in with that. Aaron Greenberg tweeted out or retweeted the Forbes article that was like, Sony takes down Anthem footage that shows off Xbox One X, and Aaron Greenberg did the little laughing emoji with oops, and boy, that really triggered people. Like, they didn't like that one bit. They're like, Greenberg, he promotes console wars.
He said oops.
He said oops.
But they didn't say that when they didn't say that when Sony were like, why play blurry 720p?
Yeah, why settle for 720p when almost every game outputs at 1080p on the PS4? And that's literally a PlayStation 4 advert.
Were they promoting the console war crap? What do you think about that?
Let me see. What was Yoshida promoting console war when he tweeted out the difference between 1080p and 720p? And then mocked them, and then said 1080p makes you a better gamer.
Don't forget how you share a game.
Well, no, I mean, yes. I don't think they were promoting the console war because they didn't say oops. So obviously it wasn't promoting.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
oops is the word.
Without the oops.
If there is one word that promotes console wars, it's oops. So, you know, once again, hypocrisy. That's my main issue.
He should have just followed up the tweet with, I'm sorry, that tweet was actually sent by Yoshida.
No. You can't do that. But I just want to point out real quick that for me, much like you guys, I felt that it was, I didn't so much care about the video itself. I cared more about the reaction and the lack of movement from like the sites and from the fans. Everybody was like, well, it's not Sony's fault. Or Microsoft, they just jumped to the fact Microsoft did that. So it's okay. But the fact is, when Microsoft did it, they had to apologize publicly. And every site and their mother ran a goddamn fucking article saying Microsoft uses 4K PC footage or 1080p PC footage of The Witcher 3. How dare they? They are lying and misleading consumers.
I mean, we already know that double standard exists, though. I mean, right? Like, shout out to Jamie Moran. He keeps posting that image, that same article for the MKV support for the Xbox One and the PS4, but by the same dude. And the one for the Xbox One's like got the fucking the pirate logo on it, you know, and then the PS4 was just all pro. Oh yeah, you can now play this file format back on it.
Yeah,
that's just how it goes.
Yeah, you can now play pirated movies or whatever on your Xbox One. Yeah, so, hey, this dude in the chat says, hey, Crapgamer Reviews, Eurogamer questioned EA about the manipulated Anthem footage. EA directed us to Sony for more information. Sony makes no comment and pulls the vid. So, yeah, Eurogamer questioned EA.
Do you have a link on that, buddy? If you do, go ahead and put it in the chat, bro.
Dealies86. If you have a link to that, please put that in there. But if what he says is accurate, then Eurogamer did in fact question EA about the Anthem footage. EA directed them to Sony, and Sony made no comment but pulled the video. So if Sony did do that, it's obvious that those are some scared motherfuckers, because they obviously don't want to put up Anthem footage of
this is the whole console. This is the whole theme of E3, right? We thought we were going to see Star Wars Battlefront on their stage. We thought we were going to see we did see some Call of Duty, but like my point being is that the fear was that if Microsoft ever shows any footage of it on the X, Sony would get outplayed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing here. Sony doesn't want to, like, the fact that Sony's coming out being like, Anthem is going to be here too, that kind of tells you guys that they're kind of concerned. And I hope Microsoft didn't just buy poster rights. Okay, Sony buys marketing rights and Microsoft buys poster rights. I hope that they actually did something. I know Phil doesn't like to do this. Why I'll never understand. But I would buy, you know, whatever their version of strikes are. You know, buy a strike for 3 months. You know, get this gear in this strike first on Xbox for 3 months.
Phil has already put himself in a corner, though. Man.
I know.
He's already,
I know.
You know, that would be pretty bad.
But the thing is,
Phil has pointed himself in a corner sometimes and kind of squirms out.
Yeah, dealer,
out of the corner.
Yeah.
I'm calling 2018 the year of Phil's flip-flop year, because what's going to happen is you're going to see him grabbing a lot more third-party deals when he said he wouldn't, and I think you're going to see some exclusive, not exclusive like with Rise of the Tomb Raider kind of stuff. That's not going to happen.
Well, they helped pay for that game, though. That's the difference. Like, they didn't say, "Oh, you got some content. How much you need to hold it off everything else?"
Right.
They helped actually fund that game.
Right, and that's fine. Listen, I had no issue. I don't have any issue. Listen, I'm a Destiny fan, okay? And I don't mind Sony getting what they paid for it. You get what you pay for, folks, okay? I don't understand it. Same thing goes with hardware. You know, it's like you want to have a better console system, you buy the X. If you don't care and you like what you got, fine, Godspeed. But my whole point is that Sony paid for those the rights to those strikes. All right, they paid a lot of money. Microsoft has more money than Sony. Why they're not buying it, I don't know. Phil's got to stop the kumbaya shit. I've said this a number of times. I'm not saying they have to go to war. They don't have to go to war, but they can just do what Sony's doing.
Hold your ground and be competitive.
Yes, hold your ground, be competitive. And actually, like, compete. They're not, you know, it's like compete. It's okay to compete. If Sony's going to go and buy strikes for 6 months to a year on Destiny, and it's a huge success, and you've got something like BioWare. I mean, when you have BioWare, I mean, that is a big-time company to have in your pocket and say, I want to work with these people, and I want to get a strike or two and have crazy Anthem gear that's just available for my Xbox, folks.
I want Anthem gear that says Xbox One X on it, bitch. That's what I want. So, yeah, you know what I mean?
I just can't fathom why. I don't get this. We got to stop the kumbaya shit. It doesn't.
Hey, that needs to be your shirt.
I will say, in regards to Anthem, though, I think that's the #1 motivator behind them. But of course, they got permission to put it on their channel. But if they did that footage, they did it really badly. That's kind of why I'm kind of alluding to maybe it wasn't them. But on the other hand, why didn't they just watch it? Right? Maybe it did pass by, but nonetheless, I think they put Anthem up there because I got this question. I know you did, Crab, because I got a fuck ton of people asking me, is Anthem exclusive? And the answer is no. And I think that's one of the reasons that Sony put it up there is to let people know it is coming. You know, and they paid the price for it. It happened. It's happened to every company. And you know what? People forget about it in 2 weeks probably. So.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I never thought it was exclusive. First of all, it's a BioWare game. Second of all, if there was any hint of that shit being exclusive, the media would have been like, Microsoft, sit down in our chair. We get this fucking heat lamp on you. Is this game exclusive? Is it timed exclusive? How exclusive is it? Now, when you say exclusive, what do you mean? What's your definition of exclusive, sir? Like, they would have fucking badgered them to the point where they're fucking sweating and shit.
Hey,
you know
did you see Phil? He's like, I really don't know how else to break this down to you. Like,
yeah.
Exclusive in one way or another. Like, people act like they're fucking idiots all of a sudden. They can't read or understand. Launch exclusive. Microsoft and Windows 10, Xbox exclusive. Like, there were only 2 or 3, and they were all pretty damn clear.
Yeah. And not only that, but Phil Spencer said this as well, because he's like, there's no other way to put console launch exclusive. It's not them being deceptive when they haven't when these developers haven't decided on making other versions yet. What the fuck else are you supposed to say? It means you're not paying for it to be exclusive, but it could be or it might not be. You know, like it's pretty cut and dry. It's not a situation like with Sony. Like again, and this is something that we hear all the time. Look at Dead Rising 4, right? Everybody said that's going to be on the PS4. It's confirmed time exclusive. Well, here we are in July, and that game hasn't even been hinted at coming to the PS4. Not even fucking hinted. No. Nobody said a fucking word. Dead Rising 3, everybody's like, that's going to be timed exclusive. Rise, timed exclusive. Sunset Overdrive, that's going to be timed exclusive. Cuphead, I can't wait till that comes to PS4, and that would make a good game on Vita. Despite the fucking fact that we heard last year and even before that that game was a console fucking exclusive. It's going to be on PC. And we know all the PS4 fanboys have their fucking $1,200 PC, so they're just going to spark that fucker right up on there and play it. So enjoy, but pay Microsoft. And don't matter to me.
Dealies86, he says he's got the link, but he can't send it to chat for the claim he made earlier. Hey, Dealies, if you can hear us, bro, send it to Crap on Twitter.
Yeah, send it to Twitter.
So we can cover that a little more in depth.
At the _Crapgamer. Hell yeah. So, and while we got like 750 in here watching, hit that like button, because under 300 likes, that's not really fucking doing it for me, guys. That's not really
that's not crap material.
Ass like Mark Cerny.
That's not.
Well, listen, you know what's funny? A lot of people have actually been giving shit over the past couple of years to the developers of Cuphead. I got to give them credit. Aren't they the ones that came out today or yesterday and they said this will not be on PS4?
They reaffirmed that it's not going to be on PS4. Yeah, they're like,
bravo to them, bravo. And this isn't a console war thing. This is just me saying bravo to them for being the only Xbox developer, whether it be endorsed or this or that, and coming out and saying no, there won't be a PS4 game or PS4 version of Cuphead on your system. You couldn't hear Insomniac. Hey, like you said, well, when Sunset Overdrive? Well, we like to work with Sony, and Sony's so great. So you
actually, Insomniac did say never. They said never.
Did they say never?
Yeah,
I thought
never
Microsoft.
I think it took them a few times.
Yeah, it took a few times.
Yeah, it did.
Cuphead was like, nope.
I'm just more surprised that somebody suggested the game would be good on the Vita, but considered that thing's dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Sony doesn't actually support their stuff. Look, they put out a PS4 Pro, and how many games are actually fucking supporting that? Like, if the One X the difference is One X will automatically fucking improve every game, and the PS4 Pro needs special coding and patches and shit. So I guess that could be the difference. But their PS4 Pro support is fucking pathetic. But this is what they said last year about Cuphead. Cuphead. This is last year, mind you, and this is an interview. Anybody could have looked this up. Cuphead is lifetime exclusive on Xbox for the console space. Fucking clear as day right there. Last year said that. And this is what they said. Without Microsoft's help and support, it would be hard to get where we're at today, which means Microsoft paid for a lot of things. He says, for my brother and I to dump so much into this game and remortgage our houses and just put everything possible in to make this, it would have probably never happened because it would have never reached the audience without the tons of marketing that Microsoft has been doing. He says, our original idea was much smaller scope, 8 to 10 bosses, nothing crazy, and it would have just been a small indie game, but the current scope, thanks to Microsoft, is exactly what we dreamed of, so it's a double-edged sword. Sure, Sony fans aren't going to be able to buy Cuphead on their system, but at the same time, the people who do get to play it will experience a full experience and not the smaller portion a three-man team was trying to pull off. So, plain as day last year, but the fans are so fucking salty. Like, even on the NeoGAF post and stuff, when I'm reading these comments, they're like, that doesn't sound definitive to me. Like, fucking, are you insane?
You're reading it, there's 4 or 5 people in the chat right here being like, well, if it doesn't sell well, it'll be on PS4. No, it won't, dude. No, it won't. If it doesn't, the person who said that, I'll reply to you. If it doesn't do well, they'll take all the copies they have and bury it next to E.T. in the desert. Listen, the whole point, it's not it's not happening. The denial, the ridiculousness. You know, listen, I got news for you. I was never going to pay $20 for Resogun. I got it for $3 this week on the sale. I knew sure shit Resogun was never coming to the Xbox One, right? It wasn't like, well, I'm waiting for the Xbox One to get that edition. Yeah. No, I mean, I just waited for it. Listen, guys, it is what it is. I don't understand why Sony guys, go out, grab a console for $199, $250. Go grab an S, enjoy yourself. Actually watch a 4K disc on your 4K TV. If you don't have one, you will in 12 months. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Some people just need to take the fucking cup off their own head and get with the program. Cuphead will do. Cuphead will do just fine. I mean, I think it's like a $20 game. It doesn't have the biggest budget in the world, so it should see a return on its money fairly quickly. I mean, what, their development team's like, what, 4 guys or something like that? Is that right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not a very big team, so it should do pretty well. And I hope those guys definitely find success with the game. And I think they will, because there's really nothing out there like it. Like I've never seen a game that looks quite like Cuphead. I'm totally interested in trying it. I think it'll be just fine.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that fucking, and it's so pissy. It pisses me off. It's one of the few things that pisses me off. And by the way, dealer, I retweeted or I added you to the tweet where that guy sent the link to that. So it's an interesting article. But yeah, it looks like Sony didn't respond and pulled it. So they could have just grabbed that shit and said, "Hey, let's slap some PlayStation buttons on there. We're good to go."
I mean, they would have. That was Eurogamer that sent it to him, right? Trying to get a reply from him.
Yeah.
They would have replied. I mean,
EA responded. They said, "Hey, they said, hey, you're gonna have to ask Sony about that shit." And they're like, "Oh, okay, gotcha. We're gonna handle this shit." But to me, again, just the hypocrisy of the whole situation pissed me off. People, they only care about this stuff when Sony does or when Microsoft does it. If Microsoft had done that with something of Sony's, we would have not heard the end of it. Like Sony can play all their games on high-end PCs and get away with it. When Microsoft does it, they're the fucking bastards of the industry. Everybody hates them. Let's
I will say, crap. It would have been a lot. I know when Microsoft did do it with Watch Dogs and et cetera, and all some of this other stuff. It would have been much worse if it would have said all running in real time on blah blah blah. Like when it wasn't even their box it was running on, right? That adds a certain element of fuckery to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because your box cannot do this. And I'm sure the Pro version will look great, right? Yeah. But I don't think it'll be quite the same. You won't get those draw distances or the textures or, like I said, plenty of room to do other effects there. But when it comes to Cuphead, yeah, it's a $20 indie and, a lot of people are looking forward to it. I'll probably pick it up. It depends. I'm not one of those super fans of the game because I'm just not rushing out to buy games like that on my next-gen console. But I think it's pretty good that you have that option. I think the issue here isn't that how big a game it is. I think the issue is, like I said, once again, how big a hypocrite some of these guys on GAF are being when it comes to the exclusivity of Cuphead, right? That's why we're even talking about it. It's stupid.
Yeah, hey, I'm 100% in agreement with you. I think it's absolutely ridiculous how the hypocrisy is. Not only that, but here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? Tomb Raider, right? They get fucking hounded over exclusivity on that. But guess what? Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, we keep seeing these leaks that this thing's going to release on Xbox in December. I know probably not a big deal to most or whoever, but we don't hear anyone hounding Activision nor Sony about this game. Like, is this a timed exclusive? Is it really timed? The fucking box doesn't say PS4 exclusive.
It's already on the platform that those people in the media already prefer, right?
Yeah.
And they don't care.
Yeah, and that's the point that fucking irks me to no end, and people wonder, like, crap, why do you get so upset by this? Because it's so one-sided, and people don't fucking understand that this is something that isn't right. Like, just be fair. Be fucking fair about it. Is the Insane Trilogy coming to Xbox and PC? Probably. It's looking that way. There's been 4 different sites now that have leaked that this thing's coming in December.
Yeah,
but nobody. It's like the dirty little secret. Yeah.
Has anyone even asked?
I don't think anybody's asked.
No.
Nobody ever asked. That goes back to what you were saying a little while ago. How come nobody was like, when Destiny was like, yes, we're going to have some exclusive rights for Sony, nobody was like, when's Xbox going to get it? Is Xbox going to get it like this year? Is it next year? Is it coming in the spring? Is it coming in the fall? How many holidays do I have to go through? What's going to happen? What size shoes am I wearing? Like, nobody was asking any questions.
Will there be spaceships?
Spaceships? Do I get something? And like my whole point being here is that like the minute Xbox gets something, remember Rise of the Tomb Raider? Like somebody was like they were asking Phil when he was on stage still, like Phil Harrison. They were like, Phil, how long? What does that mean?
Dude, Aaron Greenberg got badgered on Twitter by Jeff Keighley. Like this was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. He's like, Aaron, what type of exclusive is this? Is this a forever exclusive? Is this a timed exclusive? It has to be timed exclusive, right? Like they went back and forth on this. Like for a little while, and it was just embarrassing to see Jeff Keighley. Well, because Jeff Keighley, that guy's got his head so far up, Sony's ass that he can fucking knows what they had for dinner. So it's it's fucking.
Which sucks because Jeff does so many things that are gaming related. You know what I mean? He does the awards. He does so many great things, and like he does these things, and he's so one sided, and it sucks.
Yeah. Hey, I want to point out something that Jamie Moran tweeted, and I hadn't really thought of in this way, and it was funny because he says, "Notice how all PlayStation fanboys have gaming rigs, but not for third-party games. They still buy those third-party games on the PS4." Right? Like I hadn't thought about that. I was like, that's the best fucking point I have heard in that argument in a long time, because everybody's like, I'll just play that on PC because I got a gaming rig and a PS4. That's the best way to go. But then you're like, what do you play on PC? Oh, those Xbox exclusives. Well, you don't play multiplats on? No, I play multiplats on my PS4 Pro, bitches. Woo!
So they should have done that extra money for nothing.
Yeah. So, but well, no, it's because they're full of shit.
Oh,
you know, they
yeah.
got some kind of fucking Surface Pro or something, and they're trying to play Xbox games on it. That's it. That's what that means. Anytime anybody's like,
Yeah,
I'll
the
just play
Surface
that
Pro
shit on
probably
my.
kills most of their systems to people who say that shit.
I know,
honestly.
I know. So they're probably all like, hey, yeah, man, I got my phone or whatever, their fucking iPad or whatever. I know that's what you're all about, Mooch, those Apple products. But
Yes.
yeah. So yeah.
Hashtag courage.
Hashtag don't tell
Don't
people
damage
what they
control
want.
the lack of that headphone jack, Mooch.
Yeah.
I'll stab you with a fork, bro.
Listen, I got news for you. We don't need any more wires. If you don't
Oh my
believe me,
God,
if
what
you
a
don't believe me, take a look. Take a look behind
the can of worms, dealer.
Take
Oh,
a
what a
look
fraud.
behind Crapgamer's TV right now with his PSVR. Looks like a fucking spider. It looks like when Neo got
you know
unreleased
what
from the
I'd
Matrix.
I'd like to be able to listen to the $6,000-7,000 worth of iTunes I have with my fucking phone charging.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh.
your phone charging.
Who needs to charge their phone? Hashtag courage.
Yeah. Hey, do the PlayStation fans really sound
you
like
guys,
Beavis and Butthead?
it's
Yes.
all the Android phones that are wireless charging now. Hey, just saying.
It'll be coming to iPhone here soon, but
Oh, it will.
nonetheless,
It will.
it wasn't worth haptic feedback or whatever the fuck they damaged it from.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Anyway,
We miss you, Steve Jobs.
Hey, hold on. Just like remember PlayStation 3 when they announced that fucking controller and they're like, yeah, you know, Rumble is so last generation. I shit you not. Anybody
That
that thinks
is
I'm
true.
kidding, look it up. They
That's
actually
true.
said Rumble is last generation, so we're not including it on the PS3 because those things originally launched with those terrible, like they felt like dollar
well, you had
store
to get
controllers.
that 6-axis action with that game Lair. That worked
Yeah,
out
I
great.
mean, woo, man, everybody remembers Lair. That was such a fucking fantastic.
You live and you
game.
learn.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, anyway, Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, this is a rumor, so don't go headhunting. Possibly delayed because Sony said no to crossplay with Xbox Live. Now, the funny thing was, up for the last couple of weeks, I had heard that the delay was, in fact, to them trying to implement this, but I didn't realize that it was because Sony said no. I thought that maybe that this was a time where that was actually going to happen. And so now the rumor is that Sony said no to crossplay between the two consoles again, and it's looking more and more like this is going to be the reason. I don't know what
This
Sony's
is
thinking
absolutely not the case, Crap.
Yeah.
Think about
You
this.
don't
You
think-
got
you
a
don't think
tiny
so?
team behind the guys that did Rocket League. They say we could do it like nothing. We could turn all our screens off and do it with our eyes closed. You think Rockstar had to delay this game for a network issue? I mean, no, I don't even know how this got.
Yeah, and here's
don't
another
know.
thing, right? Like even if Rockstar was dead set, they were like absolutely like, man, we really want to do crossplay on this, and then all of a sudden Sony backed out. You think they're going to delay their game that makes them millions
What incentive do
over-
Rockstar even have to do
Yeah.
that?
over just releasing their game as soon as possible, right? Like if they released that, you know damn well if they released that game this year, that would be the best-selling game of the year.
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
hands
that's a
down.
good. You know,
doesn't matter.
that is a good point, but I still want to blame Sony for something, so I'm just gonna say that they're doing it. So fuck you guys.
Oh, God.
No, I mean, but I mean, just in general, like this is even if this isn't true, it is true in other cases that we know for sure. So I mean, it would just be an interesting thing to see them to actually say yes to something.
I think it's just follow that trade because Sony is all whatever anti.
They're
crossplay.
anti-consumer. You can,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean that's basically it.
Paul says the delay came from a misquote on an article. I'm not really sure about the details there, but it absolutely has nothing to do with crossplay. They can implement that in the Snap, and they can do it after launch as something to really hype people up after the game's already out and lost steam. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I
just no
mean,
reason.
yeah, I mean, like anyway, that's why I said, hey, rumor.
no
so
headhunting, right?
Yeah, no headhunting. You're right. Like I preface that, like, hey,
Yes.
fucking rumor. Don't come at me, bro, because I think you know what I mean. Like so many people get pissed off, like if you report on a rumor or whatever. Like I do so many videos a day, it's hard not to fucking talk about rumors, news, whatever, opinion pieces. So to me, that is a game that I'm looking forward to. Like I did delve into the first one a bit. It just seems a little bit too open world to me. But the shared world, it does. I know that's ridiculous, but yeah, it's just how it is.
Well, too open world for Crapgamer is if it doesn't have your thing that points you point A to point B directly, yeah, he's done. He
just got tired of getting
never
ripped
be
off
there.
his horse by wild bobcats and shit.
Well, you know, I don't know about that. I just it was too open world. I don't know. It was like there seemed like there was too much to
stuff
do. Yeah, you just kind of feel overwhelmed, kind of like The Witcher 3. Like that game feels like really.
Well, you know what it was? You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Witcher 3 fan.
I am too. I love that game, but there's
when
so much to do.
When that map opened up, dealer, and it had all the icons on it of the shit you can do, the map is massive, and the icons covered the map. I'm like, holy
there's a lot of question marks, but
that's overwhelming.
You go to that quest tab and you click A, and there you go. There's a magic circle.
That is true. A magic circle. There it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I play those games. I turn off everything and just focus on the main quest, and if I happen to hit something in between,
if I'm near a question mark, I'll go after it.
Yeah.
Well, I got news for you. In The Witcher 3, especially probably in the first half of the game, Hellhammer, if you just head towards the main quest, you're going to see like 8 things to do on the way. There's a million things going on.
I would just stop and do that, and then I'd head back, and then by the time and I was...
Helen was one of those weird people that actually got fucking gamer score on The Witcher 3. Like, I'm like, how did you get gamer score on this shit?
I've got like 5 days on the complete edition. I've only got like 650 gamer score on it.
Wow.
But I'm really glad it's getting X1X patch. I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, see, I'm so close to wanting to buy that Game of the Year edition.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm just gonna wait till the Xbox One X comes out because I know if it's sitting here, even as it sits without the patch, I'm gonna start playing it, and then I'm not gonna be able. I'm not gonna get the gamer score.
DLC?
Oh yeah, but the separate gamer score on the.
Yeah. So you're gonna double back.
Yeah.
That's what I did on Shadow of Mordor. I've got like almost 900 on the base game. I bought the Game of the Year edition, new achievement, so it looks like I didn't even beat the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God that Horizon Zero Dawn wasn't a Western, because I swear to God they would have had a mission in there for chasing down tumbleweeds.
Yeah, you know, like
pretty abysmal.
yeah, like that game's not my favorite. I know a lot of people like that game, but for me, And you know what? Who was that guy? Mooch Neft, I think, or it might have been Sajibot, who said that he's not a fan of that game.
Which one now?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
That was Saji. I mean, it was he agrees with us in the fact that, like, for me personally, I think it's a sleeping pill.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can only get amazed by the terrain, and the grass waving back and forth is only so much fun. I don't know. I played about 6-7 hours of it, and I really don't see me going back. And I'll give credit where credit's due. I know Crap hates it, but like a game like Neo, I love that game. I really do. It's a fun game. That's a lot of fun. I'll play Neo all day over another 5 minutes of Horizon. What the hell
happened to Mooch, man? Somebody fucking replace him? He's giving Sony credit?
Stop being honest about shit, Mooch.
I lost like 8 pounds during this podcast. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I will say that Horizon Zero Dawn, like, since I'm not relegated to just the PlayStation, because I was playing that when my Xbox was broken.
And then you broke my Xbox as well.
But since I've got another Xbox and I started playing other games, I felt no desire to go back to play Horizon Zero Dawn like I did with, like, say, like The Witcher 3, right? Like, I'd play that like up until I had to leave to go to work. Then all day at work, I'd be like, man, I want to play some Witcher. I'd get home and literally just start playing the game as soon as I got home.
Yeah, I you know what? I like The Witcher a shit ton, and then when that DLC, we got that, actually one of the rare times Hellhammer got something. And so I was playing the DLC, but I wasn't even leveled up enough to fucking start it, so I just started a thing right from the level that you need to be. And the DLC was
to Showstopper real quick, man.
Hey, Showstopper, what's up, brother? How's it going, man? Man, I missed that dude. He's a fucking BGST staple, man. Dude's funny as hell. Make sure you guys check out his channel. He's been doing some stuff lately, man, and we got Def Jam and all kinds of Mel. Thank you guys for stopping by.
Shout out to Mel.
Yes, you guys are fucking rocking and rolling. Thanks for coming out here.
Xbot just did had a funny one-liner. He goes, I bought what is that thing called? Shadowfall. What is there?
Killzone Shadowfall?
Killzone Shadowfall.
Yeah.
And I forgot to return it after I returned it. Tried to return it 7 days after he was allowed. He goes, thanks, Mooch and Crap. He's kind of stuck with it. And, you know, the problem is that's another one of those, like, it's a terrible game.
Terrible.
It's terrible. And that's the thing. I think it's kind of a shame. I think it's a shame that all these people you look up to in the gaming media, I don't mean us or the people in the chat here. I think the people in the chat have been listening to us, and they have their own friends on Sony and things like that. You guys know well enough in the chat. We're not really just talking to just you guys. But it's a damn shame that you have, like, the media being like, oh, my God, Horizon Zero Dawn is the best thing since sliced bread. I haven't played anything this great since Doom was invented. And, like, you know, it's like everyone's like, holy shit. I mean, it makes everyone scratch their head and be like, maybe I should go get it. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. And then you get home and you play it and you're like, it's like a elementary version of Witcher. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so basic. Like, the side missions are stupid.
And
And I'll pay homage. Let me pay homage to Witcher 3 for a second here. Witcher 3 has such in-depth side quests that when I got done playing some of them, I thought I was doing main. I'm like, that was a side quest? That was 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that this here, like Crap said, you know, you go out and they're like, I broke my leg. And someone could give me a cane.
Somebody can I fucking sword a dinosaur.
I'm not dead
Dinosaur
yet.
stole it.
If someone could please just help me my leg. And I'm like, what? And you go out, you kill 5 Octobots, okay? And then you come back and you're like, here's your cane, sir. And he's like, thank God, now I can have some porridge.
That's the wrong cane. That's Bob's cane.
You know, and I mean, I don't know. For some reason, the whole thing behind it is just that it's a very dumbed down version of Witcher. Is it pretty? It's the same thing like you know, Killzone. It's a beautiful game with no premise. The story, you lose the story halfway through it. I don't know. It really wasn't all that. Go ahead.
It'd be a lie to say that Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't look amazing. I mean, look, the graphics on there look amazing.
Yes, it does.
But the fact of the matter is, it suffers from the same issues that Far Cry does, and that's a lot of repetitive, you know, side missions and that sort of thing. A lot of repetitiveness.
Hey, Hellhammer, I will say, every Sony guy I've talked to in party chat, right? All of them tell me it shouldn't be almost a 90. They say 80 is about right. 80.
Yeah.
So same score as Infamous Second Son, which is a great score, you know, but it's not close to a 90 in my opinion from what I played. Not even close.
There's no way.
From what I played, I mean, honestly, I would say it's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. I mean, and that's not bad. That's, I mean, the game is good.
That's not bad. I mean, 8, 8.5. I mean, just to give it its quality and its due. I mean, what it does well, right? I mean, it works. It's not technically flawed. It's a great looking game. But as far as like, and people are like, come on, Mooch, all games are repetitive. I'm not blaming it on its repetitiveness because, like I say, Witcher 3. I mean, you'll play that game until you die. But like at the same time, you know what I mean? Like you get lost in the story. The story's amazing. It's not a grind.
Like, fundamentally, you're doing the same thing in almost every single game. Shoot, drive, Witcher 3, go talk to some asshole, use your fucking spider sense to see some shit on the ground, follow it, and then go kill a monster, right? But in that game, it does not feel like a grind because you're into the story. You're
having fun.
To be fair, though, I will give Witcher 3 a little bit more credit, though, at that point. That there was a lot of stuff on there, not to put spoilers up, even though it's been out for a long time now. A lot of shit on there where you got jawed into other places or like other dimension kind of things and that sort of stuff where it was completely different.
Intertwining side missions where you might meet these characters in single player that, you know, it's nuts, man.
I won't be so hard on either game, to be quite honest with you guys. Love it or hate it. I mean, I really, really enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I think personally, the game would have been a little better if it was a little more semi-open world, like sort of like Tomb Raider did it, where things were a little more linear, like you could keep track of things a little easier. Because I know I just recently finished it a couple of days ago, and you know, like the last 3 or 4 missions alone, I was just like, okay, is the game finally over? Am I going to see the ending? And it's like, nope, you got to go do another mission. And it's like
dragging ass is what happens.
And then you're like, oh, I got to do another one. Like, honestly, when it fucking finally ended, I was like literally swearing. I was like, thank the fuck this is over with now.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, Noof, is that it drags on. You're not exactly happy. You're not as immersed or engrossed in it. Well, I think part of the reason that The Witcher 3 does such a good job with making you like the game is there's a really good story around more characters than just Geralt. So with Horizon Zero Dawn, there's not really. You get some generic characters with googly eyes that talk like California surfers, so it doesn't really fit in. And then, you know, you do a bunch of fetch quests, and I mean, the game's gorgeous, I get that, and the Dinobots are cool. But other than that, I just found it to be very much lacking in fun factor is the problem.
What I had on there, because when I got to some of the bigger quests, a lot of it had a lot of those issues that games have where they try to pad it out, where they make you walk back and forth. Like across two points.
My problem was the story. It was like when you're the main, you're the main protagonist, and you walk up and you're like, just picture her eyes wide open, like because they don't even blink, and they're like, "Hi, Randy, what do I? Hi." And then she's like, well, you need to go over and talk to Chief Somerset. Okay, no problem. Are you Chief Somerset? Yes. Hi. I was wondering if I could just borrow your pole for a minute. No problem. I left it on that big mountain over there. And then there's like, all right, I'll be right back. I just got done fetching a quest for somebody's bum leg. And I'm like, this is what we're doing? And then, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, somebody who loves the game was like, Mooch, you've got to get the big traps. Once you get the trap set, and I'm like, the trap set? What? There's an electric bolt and there's a fire bolt? Sorry, guys, but BioShock did that years ago. I mean, get the fuck out of it. I mean, it was
quality,
just so
it's
whatever.
a quality game. It just has some hiccups. And like I said, most Sony guys will tell you, honestly, behind the scenes, the real guys, they'll tell you it's an 80. It's an 80.
Yeah.
It's
like I said, I don't think it's a bad
80.
game.
I'll give it an 80.
It doesn't engross me enough to keep wanting to go back to it, so that was my problem. I haven't played it in like a month now.
And the thing is, Hellhammer loves those types of games. Like I said, like he's played The Witcher 3 a bunch. He already beat Mass Effect Andromeda, which is something I haven't even done. Like Noof, have you beat Mass Effect Andromeda yet?
No fuck way.
Exactly.
I know life's that bitch for the first week. I've been 90 hours in on the Xbox One, and I ain't played it since, but I crushed that game pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I like it. I just a lot of stuff was coming out, and I got kind of sidetracked.
Like open world games and RPGs, that's my thing. Like I'm playing through Final Fantasy 15 right now, and that game is actually really good. I'm actually disappointed I didn't start it earlier, but the difference is that for like Horizon Zero Dawn, it just doesn't engross me to want to come back to it. I'm not like I really want to see what happens next on there. I just
it's boring.
Look, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I must be missing something. I mean, I loved Red Dead Redemption. I believe it or not, even though I didn't play a whole ton of it, GTA 5 story I thought was good, and that was a big, overwhelming game. Very similar, but it involved some car chases and things like that in there. And Horizon was just like, you know, and then there's the skill set thing, right, where you get the half sun or the full sun, and you know when you're doing it's basically that's just trials. And like that was really boring. It's like go kill 15 buffalo in 30 seconds. Go. And I'm like, what the fuck? Wait, what? The clock started? Why am I? What happened? Where's the grass? And you know, it was kind of a mess. And I don't understand like how people are giving it 10s. I can understand you saying you liked it and it was a solid 8. I'm right there with you. I'm right there. Like I gave it an 8, and you turn around, and you're like, "Oh shit, there's Mooch right behind me." Like I'm right there. I agree with you. But like, if you're gonna sit there and be like, "It was a 9.7, Mooch," you're crazy. There's nothing like getting a bum leg a favor for a man. Help him out.
I will say this:
Get out of here.
When I first ran into that, I got a bum leg quest. I had like paused the game and I laughed for about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I was like, "Holy shit!" It's actually like.
Yeah.
The whole time I was just playing back dealer doing that impersonation.
Yeah, I got a bum leg. Can you help me? Dinosaur ran off with my spear.
It really that part reminds me of Will Ferrell. I believe it was Austin Powers when he gets killed by Dr. Evil, and he's like, "I'm not burned badly. I'm not dead yet. Just I think I hurt my leg.
Burned. Yeah,
very badly burned."
I seem to have. It's pretty bad.
Hey, look, I got called out in the chat. Like Mel was like, "You got to say that out loud," because I put in the chat, "Horizon looks great, good main character, but the side quests are boring, and the main game can get pretty boring and repetitive." Yeah. So basically, that's how I feel about it. I think it is a solid game, but for me, it's not something that I'm like, "Oh man, that's like on the tier of The Witcher 3," or I don't know, because I haven't really done this Zelda thing. Like Noof, what do you think of Zelda Breath of the Wild? You love that game, right?
Yeah, man, love that game. Fucking can't even swim across a puddle before the leg fucking runs out of stamina and breaks another stick. I mean, come on. I mean, oh man, that game is something else. It's like it's fun. It's a game in itself, but honestly, like I like the other games better. It's to me, like this was something else. This was like. I don't know. I can't even explain it. I've said it a billion times.
You know, honestly, like Noof is right though on that because I know one of my best friends is like a huge Zelda fan, right? Like the only thing he plays the game-wise is the Nintendo stuff. Yeah. And so he went out and bought Breath of the Wild. And he's like, man, you're just going up a mountain and he just runs out of breath. And he's like, He's like, it's not that good. He's like, I beat it. He's like, but it wasn't that good. He's like, it wasn't as great as people said it was.
Yeah, well, people were kind of, it's Zelda, so it gets a free pass. You know what I mean? It's like it'll probably win Game of the Year, which to me, that's better than Horizon winning Game of the Year. I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing with Zelda, okay? And you got to understand something, and maybe this is my inner child. Like, Zelda, I actually agree with Noof, but, I mean, at the same time, Zelda and the people that play Zelda, they're playing it for its entirety. You know, a lot of people that are in podcasting and stuff were playing. So all the games that come out, be like, "Are you playing this game? Why not? It came out like an hour ago. Where are you, Mooch? Get on it! Get on it!" And I'm like, "Calm down, dude. You know, I got like a week. I can at least like let me breathe. Can I live?" So it's like, you know, the point of the matter is like we're always like, "Did you try this? Did you try this?" The thing about Zelda is if you really buy the game and you play it and you love what Zelda has always brought to the table, the game is fantastic. You just really I think you gotta, and people hate this, but you gotta play like I think 6 to 8 hours before you can get like some things that, like Noof said, don't break and you have stamina that lasts more than like jumping over a puddle. But I mean, it is what it is. But I don't know. I think Zelda's a good game, and I really do hope Zelda wins Game of the Year.
Yeah, the fact that we're talking about all these games is just a testament in one way or another, you know, to all of them. So even now, we're still talking about games that are years old or 6 months old. I mean, they're all pretty good games. So
yeah. I wanted to talk about something that I did a video on, and we talked a little bit on Crossfire, but I wanted to hear your guys' take. So IGN did their Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy footage, and this fucking stuff. I did a double take. I'm scrolling through my feed, and there it is. Crash Bandicoot 4K 60 FPS footage, like fucking says it, plain as day, right? Like, and I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, and then I look over, and you see the fucking Digital Foundry thing saying that it's 1440p, 30 frames per second on the Pro. So how the hell do they get 4K 60 FPS? So after I did a video about it, and a lot of people were complaining, IGN went back, stealth edited it to say captured in 4K. You know what I mean? So, I mean, to me, some people were like, I don't know, crap, it just seems like an honest mistake. And I'm like, that's not a fucking honest mistake. They're just throwing around that goddamn 4K word as a buzzword.
Since when do they render 30 FPS clips at 60 frames and then call the game 60 frames? Assassin's Creed Origins at 60 frames per second. You know what I'm saying? They've never done this before, and that's a fact. I don't recall them ever doing this before.
That's damage control.
Extremely interesting to me.
Yeah, it's bullshit, right? Because the IGN is the only one that I believe still hasn't covered the Anthem nonsense, right? And I can remember when that motherfucker Greg Miller still worked at IGN, and he was posting about various rumors about the Xbox One before it had launched, like bad rumors. I messaged him on Twitter, and I was like, what about these red line of death things? How come IGN doesn't report on that? He's like, well, if that ever happened to me personally, we'd report on it. Like, that was his fucking matter of fact to me. Like, if it ever happened to me, I'd report on it. But sure, we're able to report on rumors of resolution and bullshit like that, you know, fucking absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. With this Crash Bandicoot shit, to me, that's like false advertising and helps push the fucking narrative for Sony and their fucking PlayStation, man. Like, to me, I just cannot stand this shit. The way the media just does every fucking thing for Sony. It's like, Sony can do no wrong. Here's a fucking 4K game. They fudged the word so much that it loses its meaning. So when you see 4K in the back of your mind, like, is it 4K? Is it checkerboard? Is it this? Is it that? Is it 4K? Like, fucking A. 4K is 4K, folks. 1440p, while a good resolution, isn't 4K. And fucking
that goes for both sides too, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to see Assassin's Creed Origins on the Xbox One X. I don't want to see them say 4K on their title either.
Yeah, if it's not 4K, yeah, you know, save that shit for the 4K ones. You know, like the 4K label or whatever. Like, that should be how it should be. And I agree 100%. And the media though, like even fucking Ledbetter and those guys, those ass buckets over there at fucking Digital Foundry, they're always like, 4K, we see marvelous 4K. The best use of 4K we've seen on a console is Horizon Zero Dawn. And I'm like, there is no 4K on Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
there is none. It's like it's a checkerboard thing. And the game, when you switch between the modes, you can't even tell the difference.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. A lot of people back in the day were always like, you know, when they referred to things like Big Brother, they always meant a government or the government is watching you. Unfortunately, now it's the media. The media is the new Big Brother. They push the agenda down your throat. And like Crap just said, like, there's only a few people that would know. Most people just listen to the Digital Foundry. They're like, wow, 4K, this is 4K. They think the PS4 Pro is a 100% 4K, native 4K machine. And that's everybody just, listen, if you wake up every single day and say to yourself, you know, you're 6'2", I'm 6'2", I'm 6 foot. Every day you say that, after 2 or 3 years, if someone just asks you out of impulse, you'll say, I'm 6 foot. I mean, no, I'm 6 foot. You know what I mean? Like, you'll say 6'2" because you've actually programmed yourself to say, these people keep pushing the narrative, 4K, 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 4K. people outside, they don't know the difference between 1440. They don't know what we're talking about. Nobody, and I don't blame them. The consumer every day is working very hard in this country to go to work, pay your bills, pay your taxes, mow the lawn, feed your kids, do this and that. And people aren't worried about 1440K and 2160p. You know, they're just not worried about that shit. So my point being is, like, when you have narratives being driven at you and piled at you every day from Polygon, Kotaku, IGN, Digital Foundry, and this is 3 years now of here it comes, 4K. You don't know the difference anymore, and people don't. You know, that's the problem. And here's the thing: you're probably going, well, Mooch, no shit, who cares? My only grief with all this is, why wasn't that same thing driven home from the media when it was 1080p and 900p? Nobody cared. It was no big deal. Nobody enjoyed a game any less. Nobody said, I'm missing 180p, this game sucks. That was never said. That was never said in any household, ever was that ever said. But the media made you believe those 180 missing p's was the difference between you enjoying the game and not. And now what we're saying is, how come the 1440 to 2160, how come that's not mentioned?
Yeah. Hey, I'm fucking there with you. I still, dude, I hold a grudge. Nobody holds a grudge better than me. And fucking that Brian Altano motherfucker, 1080p, well, that's a thing. I still remember that motherfucker doing that in 2013. Here we are in 2017. So don't sit there and try to play it off like you don't care about resolution, or that resolution doesn't fucking matter all of a sudden.
Listen, if you don't believe me, guys, just go watch about a handful, maybe 6, 7 of the news breaks that they have on IGN, and you see people wearing the triangle, square, circle, and X shirt, or the PlayStation or bust, or where did I put my PlayStation t-shirt? You know what I mean? They're all wearing, nobody's wearing Xbox or bust or I bleed green or anything, you know what I mean? Or 4K, or anything, the Scorpio logo. Nobody has anything at all ever with Microsoft on their shirt. Never. I've even seen someone wearing a PlayStation shirt on the Podcast Unlocked show. Like, that's crazy. Like, you might go, who cares? It's not who cares. It's like, that's the show, right? Like, you don't like watch a we're cooking steak channel and it's like someone's like vegan or bust. You know what I mean? What? Like, it doesn't, you don't see that shit. So if people are tuning in for an Xbox podcast, they want to see people wearing an Xbox shirt. If you tune into a PSN podcast, PlayStation, I want to see people wearing PlayStation shirts. I mean, I don't understand what's so hard here. Like, that's the brand.
Here's the thing, right, Mooch? And I know what you're saying, because I watched Kind of Funny Games as well. Like, Colin and Greg, I thought they were a pretty good team.
Yeah, they were.
I give credit where it's due. I think that Greg is a huge, I don't know, he's something, but
he's a dick sucker. That's where you're
he had this little mini-me guy on there the other day. Me and Hellheimer were watching it. Dude looked just like him. And they even commented on it. He's like, yeah, he's got his Greg Miller outfit on, and he's got these little nerdy glasses and shit on. It's funny, but they're PlayStation, unapologetically PlayStation, right? And then you look at Podcast Unlocked, which is supposed to be the Xbox podcast, and you got Ryan McCafferty selling fucking Unity shirts or whatever the hell those were. What was those, like? The shirts, because I made fun of the shirts and took them.
Yeah, what was it? It wasn't Unity. It was Coexist.
Yeah, Coexist shirts. So he does Coexist shirts where the controllers are holding hands, Xbox and PlayStation. So I, of course, took that design, gave it to Jay, said, Jay, is there any way you can have the Xbox dude have a gun shooting the PlayStation controller, saying there can only be one? And there you get it. And I sold that shirt very well because I'm a marketing fucking genius. But at the same time, he seems to like prop up PlayStation shit all the time. You never hear these PlayStation places and these podcasts talk about anything positive when it comes to Xbox. Nothing. They aren't looking forward to anything.
Yeah, when you're watching Podcast Beyond, which is the PlayStation version on IGN, they never do a 15-minute segment on like how Anthem's going to be better and maybe we should reconsider and tell people to buy an X. They don't do that. But you have plenty of Podcast Unlocks where they're like, I don't know, Mitch. I'll tell you the truth, Mitch. If I had my money in my pocket, I would go buy a PS4 because I can actually make more out of my $60, Mitch. And it's like, that's just kind of what they did. They just promote the PlayStation brand even on the Xbox show. I just don't see it.
You know who's recovered nicely is Destin.
Destin has done a complete 180.
Me and Destin have had our little bit of kind of back and forth before in the past, like on Twitter. He didn't block me. I didn't block him. I never cut. I'm not really indignant to people on Twitter. So it's always weird when I've been blocked by Ryan McCaffrey before because somebody included me in a tweet where it was a picture of him talking to Phil Spencer and he said the PS4 is a beast or a monster or whatever the fuck it was. You know what I mean? And everybody's kind of making fun of him. I didn't make fun of the guy on Twitter. I might have said he was an idiot for saying that, but so me and Destin were talking and on Twitter, and I had mentioned something like, well, you know, you guys had this agenda about, you know, console wars and 1080p and all this stuff, and you're in an Xbox podcast, and all you do is talk about PS4 playing Destiny. And so he's like, I don't do console wars crap. And so I tweeted him back the picture where he's holding a fucking 1080p on PS4 and a 900p Xbox. And I'm like, sure you don't, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun. And then that was like pretty much the end of that. Yeah. So it's like, look, these people, they promote this shit just as much as anyone else. You know, they're just as much to blame. And now they stop it, right? So yeah, like to me, I want to see like one of these bigger places have an Xbox podcast that are Xbox fans, because Ryan McCaffrey, he tweets on Twitter the other day, right? He's like, I know I get some hate for this, but if you just want like a Fox News or a CNN News or whatever Xbox podcast where they never talk anything bad about the platform, there's plenty that can do that. Like, okay, fine. You want to talk about some of the bad shit with Xbox, right? Great. But when your whole podcast is dedicated to nothing but hate, at that particular point, I'm a little bit annoyed.
I wouldn't say it's hate though, crap. I would say that they're kind of like some of the bigger turds in the community where they kind of talk and they're just in their own head talking and they don't know about what's been confirmed or how capable the box is or what the fuck a stick of GDDR5 does. They have no clue, right?
Yeah.
So they just go on and they spread kind of doubt, and that spreads misinformation. Yeah. Like the guy Ghost Robo, million-something subscribers, talking about Forza 7 the whole time, he's just spreading doubt. What's the point of it? When does PS5 come? Like, why? No one's paying to hear your fucking philosopher thoughts here on consoles, right? Just talk about the game, how good it looks. People are excited, and if you're not excited, that's you. Everyone else, for the most part, is that I know of. Like, there's no point in you just spreading doubt about it because that spurs misinformation. It's just pointless, and that's kind of what I would say about Unlocked is what some of the guys do sometimes. And when Ryan acts like he's the only podcast who criticizes Microsoft, he's an idiot because we all do it. We've all done it.
Yes.
And it's pretty damn common.
It is. Look, if Microsoft fucks up, I'm going to be the first one to go, hey, they really fucked that up. You know, they really dropped the ball there. Like me and you were saying earlier, don't slap the 4K shit on games if they aren't 4K. And that's okay. You know what I mean?
Both brands. Don't care if it's Forza, whatever. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't fucking do it. Like, it's so annoying that Sony has very few 4K games, and yet they advertise their console as a fucking 4K, and they do this whole dynamic and native thing now, and it's just like, to me, I just like, you just facepalm, and you're like, what the fuck?
You know what, again, guys, some of it's pretty obvious. I mean, IGN, like I said, you look at all their panels, they got Sony TVs behind them. I mean, it's don't bite the hand that feeds you. Sony obviously probably pays IGN a lot more advertising dollars, perhaps, than some other companies. And I remember back in the days of you know, some real gaming media, back when we were still going to the store and picking up magazines and buying EGM and GamePro, and this actually, I remember this happened. I think it was in the 90s before magazines really started to fizzle, and EGM at the time, I remember one of their spots, they came out and specifically said in their magazine, they said, we will not change the reviews of our games based on what people are spending with our magazine. And it's kind of funny because if you compare the two magazines back in the day, EGM always had way less advertisements inside of their book than GamePro did, and GamePro had that really stupid ass rating system too, where you couldn't really understand if the game was good or bad because they always did it with the, what was it, the 5 fucking star system or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a car dealership too. Like, I know lots of people at car dealerships that they work, say, for General Motors, but they drive a Toyota to work. But I guarantee you, the moment if one of those guys went in and somebody went in to buy a car and said, so honestly, in your opinion, what car would you buy? Because what do you drive now? Well, I drive a Toyota. You know, I would imagine the manager would get pretty damn upset with you. And it even trickle down effect goes right into this, like into GameStops and stuff. It seems like, I don't know, is it just me or does it seem like every person that works for GameStop is preferably Sony. Like, so I'm starting to wonder, like, do the managers, when they get the resumes and come in, one of the questions got to be on the thing when you go in to get hired. Maybe somebody who's actually been to a GameStop interview can probably tell you guys this. Like, does a manager say, so which systems do you play on and which one do you prefer? Because I guarantee, I bet you if the person goes, I really love Xbox, they're like, well, that resume goes in the fucking garbage.
That's like me and Mooch when we signed up for Free Code Friday, and we're like, pick us, Major, pick us, and he's like, okay, those two go right in the garbage. They're not gonna win this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't go that far, Noof, but I would also say that a lot of that's warranted. As I've said before, I mean, the amount of messaging fuck-ups at the beginning of this generation, right? And I wouldn't change it. I would not change it. We would not have the Microsoft we have today if they did not get molested Michael Jackson style. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter. These guys have been more consumer friendly than they've ever been. They're doing things they would have never done in the past. You used to have to pay to play Netflix on your 360. I mean, this is how antiquated some of this stuff was. And that's just the facts. Like, as I've said before, this is good, and this is why we've got the Xbox One X coming. This is why we've got $1 billion just reinvested into first party. People complaining, and they're reacting to fan feedback. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy in the chat, he's like, sounds like Unlock does the opposite of what you do, Crap. They criticize from time to time, and you do nothing but fanboy with zero ability to be objective. If I wasn't objective, then I wouldn't have been able to talk about how they dropped the ball time and time again at the beginning of the generation, or about how they fucked up at various times, or how like that my console's been fucked up, or they need to do better with the first party, or how it was a mistake to close the Fable studios. I've constantly called out Xbox. The problem is Unlocked do nothing but complain. Like, I've rarely heard them ever praise
They're
Xbox
never
at all.
optimistic about
They're not. Yeah, that's it. That's a great word. They're not optimistic about anything.
That's a good way to put it, Theo. They're just never positive.
Like, why is it a bad thing to be optimistic about the One X? Instead, they want to focus on who has a 4K fucking TV when you don't even need a 4K
this
TV.
Rumor saying that this does this is going to do this much more than the Pro. Well, we'll just have to, like, they don't feed into anything positive, because it's like they think they're going to be judged as the most radical fanboys ever if they do.
Yeah, like how is that worth $500? Well, guess what? We paid $500 for the fucking launch Xbox One, and this is much better.
People spent $400 on a PS4 Pro that was supposedly doing the 4K or whatever the hell it does.
And the PS4, and that fucking thing isn't even getting updates. It doesn't super sample everything or anything. Yeah,
right. But as soon as that came out, right, the Pro came out before any kind of benchmarks, any kind of anything like that was done. Nobody was like, well, how many people have a 4K TV? How many people do this or that or whatever, right? It was never a question. It's just like, oh, look, it's going to be the most powerful console.
Yeah.
Right.
And they fucking market the hell out of that like that as well. Like, we hear more positive stuff about PS4 from the Xbox crew than the Xbox, which is ridiculous. And I think people are kind of, annoyed with that. I guess they're de facto people that people actually want to fucking go watch or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, man, it's a rare occasion where I'll watch something they're doing, maybe if only to get a story or two, if they're interviewing Phil, or they did a really good interview once with Phil and Seamus and Peter Moore, and I thought that was a pretty good interview. But, like, whenever you see him interview, I'll always just have that fucking lasting memory of that dude, Marty Sleva, fucking dropping his pen and choking his collar because he was fucking freaked out about the One X, So, to me, they're always going to be goofballs. They don't even, like me. I'm a fucking jobber. I'm not a journalist, but I sat there and fucking did a video about the Anthem thing, and I've done other various things like that. Dealer, you've done it. We've all done that. We've done videos about, nobody still has fucking, it's unfathomable, nobody has jumped on the fact that we're getting a different UI when that One X launches. Nobody's fucking calling on to that. Do these people not have Twitter? Mikey Barra answered in a tweet, yes, the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X are going to have the same UI, but they're different. It's going to look different than the one we have now.
Big update coming this fall with Unity-powered avatars and everything.
Yeah, and nobody's covering that.
Come this fall, when the fucking new avatars come out, there'll be some stupid article up saying, we're getting useless avatars. Microsoft should put their money into better projects and things than this silliness. You know what I mean? Like, I could totally see some shit coming like that. You know what I mean?
We'll see. Yeah. I feel a shift coming when this thing launches. It'll be interesting to hear what negativity people have to say, because in terms of the games coming out this year from first-party studios, that Microsoft have it. Sony has DLC this year for the most part. Next year looks great for PlayStation, but we don't know what's coming from Microsoft next year.
Yeah.
They like to show, and they said this several times, they like to show stuff at E3 and it be playable before the next E3.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, they did last year too.
They'll definitely be shit talking for the avatars because the same thing happened with 360 when that came out, and that was when they were pretty good. People were like, "Wow, why did they waste all their time on this shit?" So,
well, they're trying to tailor it to the
Rare
experience.
to good use.
Yeah. I mean, well, it was Rare's idea to do that, actually. So I don't know.
Honestly, look, the thing is, though, the people don't understand, right? Like, it's not like, oh, well, they should put this money here or there. Like, when you work at at a software corporation or a company like that money's already pre-allocated to these people anyways. So it was either they were probably making something or not doing shit and getting paid the same amount.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's not like the team that's going to be making avatars is going to be the same one that's making a game.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Like, I like that they're doing that stuff. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I like that stuff too.
Yeah, it's like a complete thing. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be better for people of I guess everybody's gonna be able to personalize it more. I always like the idea of the avatar where you had to connect and then it would I could have like a fat avatar. Like I always
don't even talk about the Kinect anymore. That shit's dead to me.
Kinect.
Microsoft needs to wipe a whole thing of Kinect just off the face of the fucking earth.
Yeah, go to all
convenience
people.
is king. Convenience is king. And when I got the Gears 4 2 terabyte console, the adapter was just that much less convenient to where I just don't even use the thing. Yeah. I don't use Kinect anymore, especially because Cortana is integrated into my headset.
I missed out on getting the adapter because I had like a month for getting the S. I was just outside of the time frame to get the free adapter, so I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm never going to use that fucking thing anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's cool they're supporting it on the X, but yeah, very few people.
I'm going to use it because I already have the adapter and shit because I got that shit for free. But, I like it. But the problem is every once in a while, you have to unplug it and plug it back in for it to work right. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck the deal is with that, but it is kind of weird. Phil Spencer says he won't give up on Japan. But is that really realistic or is that something...
No, Phil Spencer won't give up on. He's not going to give up on Japan, but Japan gave up on him.
Our goal is to sell 12 consoles next month.
Yeah.
At this point, he has to. I mean, he has to say he's not going to give up on it for stockholders and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
But he already knows. Everybody already knows that's a lost cause.
Well, it depends on what you're. I mean, I read it differently. I think he's going to keep his ties, tightly knit with the Japanese developers. But as far as Xbox One and Xbox in general selling in Japan, that's over.
Right. Yeah. As far as the console and the name Xbox selling in Japan, I think that's pretty much it. But I do think, again, just like Mooch said, that there's going to be, obviously more JRPG games. I mean, we see that coming already. They already have that deal with Sega.
Of course, he's going to say that they're not giving up on Japan because he's trying to get more and more Japanese support. Right. That's been proven.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I would say the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to give up per se, but I just think that do you think maybe he's just making an effort to just get some support from Japanese developers?
He's just doing his job. People over there own Xbox Ones, and they deserve support as well because they paid for that support when they bought the box. So
I agree.
We'll see.
Do you think, the One X, with how easy it is to develop for, it's not unfathomable that they would get some ports of games that maybe people will look at as PlayStation 4 exclusives. Like, don't count out Microsoft getting some of these Yakuzas and some of these types of games, right? Like, I'm just being honest. Like, those games, Sony doesn't pay for those games.
No, that's a Sega game.
Yeah,
they've
that's
just made their way over to the PlayStation first, and the developers haven't confirmed that it's a finite exclusive. It just hasn't been, much like Killing Floor 2 came to the PlayStation first. Now it's on Xbox, right? Coming soon. So same scenario.
Yeah, just look at. I mean, look, and for those that don't believe me, you could see games, I don't know, maybe like Persona, maybe not that one, but like some of the Yakuza, some of these other games, especially the Sega ones, where Sony doesn't own any rights to them, they could definitely head over to the Xbox because we know how easy it is to develop for them. They have the easiest platform to develop.
That's how we got Valkyria Chronicles just recently. And I mean, that's sure that's not an exclusive to Xbox, but that was a big title that came out of like the JRPG genre from Sega. Yeah. I mean, like you won't see those Atlas games like Persona and those ones come over just because they are such really like JRPG oriented. They would sell like 5 copies on the Xbox.
Yeah,
that just makes no sense.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But I wouldn't. I would say because it looks like they are gonna go to the Tokyo Game Show. They could announce some stuff there. But what do you guys think about Phil not making it out to Gamescom? Like, like he's not gonna make it, but it looks like Microsoft is gonna be there, but he's not gonna be there.
Well, they've got no huge news to announce. I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he said he has like some family stuff going on or commitment or something.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? I mean, that Gamescom is much later in the year, so there's gonna be a lot more. Even disregarding any kind of personal stuff he may have going on, there's a lot of stuff to be finishing up for what's essentially a console launch.
Yeah, I don't know. Myself personally, I think they should stop having Phil and all those guys do the shows, and they should have like Michael Robbins come out there. You know what I mean? Or one of these motivational speakers that make you want to buy something. You know, you have all these guys that are executives and developers are not salespeople, okay?
Yeah, Tony
Robbins comes out there with his 8-foot mitts he's got, and he's just like, you know, who's buying an Xbox One X? And you hear like, you know, like this clapping. My whole point is just like, you got to understand something. I don't think Phil not being there is a big deal. Let's just break it down. Phil Harrison was the one I think that was the one that announced at Gamescom that Rise of the Tomb Raider was going to be a holiday exclusive, not Phil Spencer. So Phil doesn't need to be there for anything.
Didn't they put him in a bulletproof jacket and go
yeah, they did.
Phil?
Yeah. Go make that announcement. We got that game coming exclusively to Xbox One. What kind of exclusive? F you. Let's go threaten everybody because we're not getting the game on PS4.
His head's still out. Scratch it.
Yeah, fucking get him. You know, like that. Yeah, that's some ridiculous shit. I think, they're not going to. I think it's all just an act. They don't care really about that market anymore. I think they really did try with the 360 and the original Xbox because I interviewed Seamus Blackley, the Xbox creator, and he is really a big fan of Japan, and he was really devastated when nobody took to the console over there.
Well, yeah, like they obviously really tried it especially with the original Xbox, right? Because they had that big deal with Sega, and I mean, really, if you want to look at it, I always looked at the original Xbox as the extension of Sega after the Dreamcast.
Yeah,
right? Because it had basically all those games on there. They got Shenmue 2. It had all those
Panzer Dragoon,
Sega Racing, GT Racing.
Yeah, GT Racing. It had
Jet Grind Radio.
Jet Grind Radio. It had Toe Jam and Earl 3, which is a game that I'm hoping actually comes to the backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Because there's literally no other place to play that game. There's no PC copies of that game. There's no that you literally have to have an original Xbox or you can't play it.
You can't be surprised that they didn't support the original box or any really. Their culture is extremely nationalist. I actually wish more people here care more for their brands than they do. Well, it's made in China. Well, the money comes back to the States either way. You definitely bring in more money that way than buying from a foreign company anyway. But I like to support the brands if they make good products, and they do. They make a great product, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this because it's something that happens a lot. You guys might not care, but 343 Industries actually gave a blessing for a fan-made Halo game that's going to PC, and that struck me as super rare because we see how these fan-made games get shut down all the time, and Microsoft has agreed to let this go forward. Like, wow.
I mean, it is a bit surprising, but it's mainly the fan-made games are getting shut down by Nintendo. And that's because Nintendo has a lot to lose in that market. Because, I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, it's easy to make a clone of Mario that plays pretty decent, or a clone of Pokemon or Zelda or whatever that plays fairly decent, right? But you see the shift with this, especially lately. Like, Sega even came out and said that, hey, if you want to make fan-made games, as long as you're not making money off of it, we're fine with it. Use their IPs. They even released like the Sonic sprites and everything officially and everything for Sega side. So I think it's going to be a big change on that because we see the backlash too. If you're on the PC side, you see what happened when you start to take away people's rights to modify or use properties or whatever, so they're not making money off of it. Like Grand Theft Auto 5, right? Like dropped in the middle of like the single night because they decided to drop the mod support for it. The Steam reviews literally dropped from being the most positive rated game on Steam to like one of the worst of all times.
Yeah, well, that's stupid too, though, because with the game they sold you, mod support is not guaranteed on any platform.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
that was a Take-Two thing, like Yeah, Rockstar said they were all for it. Take-Two's like no, because they don't want their game modified. What that's a neither here nor there. I mean, people that are gonna want that. Like, I'm not a big mod guy anyway. Like, I don't know, like Bill's Basement. Like, who the fuck?
Especially if you lose your achievements for using them. Nope.
Yeah, like that's a big problem, right? Like, yeah, some of them seem kind of cool, but hey, achievements disabled if you fucking do it. But I just thought that was cool of Microsoft to kind of allow that. Especially in a time, like I said, when we've seen Sony and Nintendo both say no to that exact kind of thing.
Well,
so,
yeah, I think fan games are great, honestly, right? Like, I mean, not hardly ever really good, but I mean, some of the best feedback you can get is to have like the fan games and that sort of thing, just like Doom and all those other games back in the day too, with the user-made mods or whatever.
Like, see what gets that games community excited. Yeah, and you don't have to take the risk.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a no-risk way. Basically, they could do something completely different here, right? And then if people really like it or if it takes off in some way, Microsoft can basically offer these dudes a sandwich as a good faith and then get used the next game.
It's a really good sandwich.
It is. It's a good sandwich. Here you go. Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's also goodwill towards gamers. Like, they're doing a lot of things that are going to get them a lot of goodwill towards the gamers and things like that.
Crap! We got a fraud. It's too bad to pass up. Gears of War 4 is a fail.
Gears of War? How the hell is Gears of War 4 a fail?
3 million physical, and that's I said at least 2 million.
I think
digital, I would imagine.
I think he's talking about God of War.
God of War 4.
Oh, God!
I was about to say, but
they're talking about God.
I don't think God of War 4 was a fail, was it?
Well, it didn't come out yet, but it's God of War is not going to be a fail. I think what they're going back and forth in the chat about is, if it's going to be it's so changed from what we're used to. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta change those abbreviations.
Yeah, the abbreviations are. Yeah, I always thought that was funny. Like, two of the bigger third-person games are God of War and Gears of War. Very weird.
A lot of people do GOW for God of War and GEOW for Gears of War.
I've actually never seen GE.
I've never seen GE.
You've never seen that?
No, never.
Never. I guarantee I've seen that all the time.
I've never seen it either.
The reason why
I don't know.
No, the reason why they do that is because God of War came out a year before Gears, and so it supersedes it. It actually has like the it's been out longer, so it actually is able to do that. But yeah, Gears of War 4, man, I'm looking forward to the fucking update on that too. Like,
yeah, that's something I think that's going to be one of the first games. Like, well, there's that, Doom, and Witcher 3 would be the three of the games we already own. I would go back and play in 4K.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, Fawn says he had to stop playing on the base Xbox One S because he heard about the X1X support, which is going to be phenomenal. They confirmed it at native 4K. You're getting screen space reflections, dynamic shadows, better God rays. I mean, like I said, they're ramping it up.
God rays, I hear Tim Dog talking about that. What the hell?
Everyone we know that went to
it's like
E3.
when you let's say like you probably saw it in Far Cry 4. Ubisoft are fans of it. When you peer up through the trees in the sun, you see that light piercing through the trees, right?
Yeah.
Those rays of light, those are God rays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn awesome.
Or in Gears 4, when you're walking up to that area where the stuff's floating in the water, right? The area they revealed in the first gameplay demo. Yeah. And you see that light peering through that broken building, all that stuff. You know, that stuff looks amazing on PC, and they're upping the settings.
Nice. Yeah,
PC
that's
quality.
the stuff that makes a difference more than resolution, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Says 30 FPS, actually 4K 60 in the multiplayer, bud. You got any of those on AAA games? No, you don't.
No, they don't. Hell, it's just not happening. The Shadow of War developer, he said something really interesting, which really appeals to me, which is the load times on the 1X. They said that the Shadow of War game takes a couple seconds to load in the world, where it takes minutes on the other platforms, which I thought was really cool. Like, I'm surprised not more people are excited about this. I hate load times. There's some games with some horrible load times, like Destiny, Battlefield. Just the fact that you're going to be able to get games that load that much faster, just another reason to jump on the X.
I'm sorry, Top Dog said on PC. No, 4K 60 multiplayer on Xbox One X confirmed.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm sorry, yeah, crap. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been talking about this 7200 RPM drive for a while, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is big because you no longer, like I said, die of old age waiting to respawn in The Witcher 3, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Much faster load time.
Same thing with Prey.
I tell you how long I waited. So
that was the punishment for dying in that game.
Yeah, I was like, man, here I am. I'm waiting another 20 minutes. I'm going to go make a sandwich, get a drink.
He said Assassin's Creed Origins had minute or two long load times though. That's kind of extensive.
Well, he said Shadow of War.
Oh, Shadow of War.
Yeah, his exact words were takes a few to a couple minutes.
Who said this?
To a few minutes. The Shadow of War developer, Monoloth.
Maybe he was just talking, and he
said the Xbox One X loads in their world in a matter of seconds. Yeah. So that's that to me is like a hugely.
Well, I mean, the minute and a half thing is not really outrageous. I mean, Prey, my God, when you're going and there's real. I mean, they don't present it in fast travel. You have to go outside of Talos 1 to actually get from section to section. But I got news for you. If you're just going from like port to port in the game, it's a minute and a half between loading. It sucks, dude. It takes you out of it.
You know what's funny is because I'm playing Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy on the Pro. Helmer's playing it on the base one, and he was watching me play it just because it was hilarious. But he was like, "Wow, the load times really are better on that." So I guess that.
Oh, it's night and day, right? Like because when I load it up, it takes about like a minute or so, 2 minutes to fully load up the game.
Yeah.
And yours is like a few seconds.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I'm doing good on that game, and then Hellhammer comes in. Next thing you know, I'm dying like every 2 seconds. He's like, wow.
Next thing you know, you're just awful at that game. Worst ever seen.
No, I'm pretty. Actually, when I was trying to cap footage for that, fucking, I couldn't get clean. I was like, man, people are gonna really fucking make fun of me.
Dude, you just need to come out with a secondary channel of you just playing platforming games. I guarantee you, just the comedy of it.
You know what? It's not my fault. It's difficult
to
jump.
I gotta say, I watched your review today, Crap, and I don't know if you were trying or not, but you were jumping, and thank God some of the places you fell into were part of like a subboard. I'm like, oh, he's dead again. He's like, oh, thank God he landed there.
Yeah,
it's funny. Hellhammer makes a good point. I would actually watch you play that game.
Look, watching him play platforming games and stuff like that, it's the best thing, right? Like sometimes I'll just sit in there and watch him play for like 45 minutes.
You know what's great? I'm picturing right now. I would show up over at Crap and Hellhammer's place with a 12-pack of beer. Just me and Hellhammer sitting behind Crap watching him play that, and I would laugh so hard as Hellhammer laughs at Crap.
About Crap playing platformers, I get that flashback of that knack footage you constantly use.
Oh yeah.
But I had my TV off when I recorded.
I did. The TV wouldn't work. You know what? I had the hardest time trying to cap shit on the PS4 because of that HTCP stuff. No matter, I gotta fuck with it a lot to get that stuff to work. But that's like
it's really just that's his excuse. That's how bad he is at platformers.
I love that knack footage.
It's hard to capture, and that's why I have my TV off.
It is. That's exactly why. Exactly why. As we cross 2 hours already, I'm gonna go ahead and do some outros. Mooch, what do you got going on? I know you're not doing Crossfire.
Yeah, Crossfire's taking a week off. Let's just blame it on 4th of July week. No, there's just, listen, we've covered a lot of news between Crossfire last week. We had MNC and, of course, Xbox Nation today. And, got a little family stuff going on. So Friday, I'm a little busy. Crossfire will be back. It's regular scheduled time next Friday. And I'll tweet it all out on Twitter to say that this week is being just no show this week. But then we have MNC Mornings on my channel Sunday morning, 11 a.m. So if you still want to get your fix of Mooch, it still will happen.
We're doing the Patreon game giveaway Sunday as well. So
that's right.
For $1 and a dream.
$1 and a dream, folks. Go over to Patreon. Crap, you should have the link. He does. He has the link in the description.
It's in
just
every
$1, folks. It's $1. You win a game. You got a good shot of winning the game.
Absolutely.
Or more.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see who else. Dealer, what do you got going on? I know you got your podcast tomorrow night, which is rescheduled from Tuesdays.
Yes, sir. Like I said, yesterday we celebrated Holy Fuck, my hand exploded off my body day, and that was an American holiday where we blow stuff up. So we had families and things to do, so we wanted to go ahead and deliver on that podcast on Thursday. So it's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern with myself, Jay Fonzarelli, Colt Eastwood, the Ashton Lucan, and all day. And yeah, we're going to have tons of good topics and talks, and I know people will be there to support. But check out the video I did today. Follow me at dealer_gaming on Twitter. And of course, II_dealer_II on Xbox Live.
Hell yeah, man. Looking forward to that. Good crew there. I saw Colt and Fonz in the chat earlier. So shout out to those guys too.
Colt's got a video coming out soon as well. He said so.
Yeah, he's been teasing that thing for like 2 days now. Like, hey, I got this video coming out. You know, woo!
I got these cheeseburgers, man.
Hey, I always say this, man. If it weren't for Colt, I wouldn't know the PS5 was coming. So
thanks, I learned that. I didn't even know that was confirmed. I didn't
exactly. Know. So now we know. And thanks, Colt. Hellhammer, what do you got going on? Nothing.
Yeah,
I missed Metallica. They're in Orlando, and I missed them.
Yeah, I did actually. That sucks. I actually did have the money to go get the tickets because they were super fucking expensive for anything besides the nosebleed.
They stopped trying a long time ago, Hellhammer.
Oh yeah, I know. I just wanted to go see them. Yeah, nothing to do with what to see a good show. I didn't want to see a good show. I just wanted to go see them.
Man, come on.
But yeah, otherwise, I'll be back on here next week. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at XXHellhammer or on Xbox Live XX_Hellhammer.
Awesome. And Nukem, what do you got going on?
Hey, man, well, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I got to get some videos up on my YouTube. It's been a little while now, so I'm overdue for something. And now that I've got a couple of games off the backlog, I think hopefully I'll be able to try to get a couple knocked out throughout the week. Just going to shout out to all you Canadian gamers out there who happen to be big fans of Nintendo, guys. Brace yourselves. Open your wallets and your assholes this fall because Nintendo is hitting us hard with fucking $99 games. That's a $40 increase over the U.S. counterpart. And how I know this because GameStop in the US, guys, has the placeholder price at $59.99. They're $99.99 in Canada on the EB website, and it says placeholder. But I called a person the other day to confirm it from EB, and it definitely sounds like it's legit. Like Nintendo is going to test the water with this price point and see how well it does. It's total bullshit. Xenoblade Chronicles, Mario Odyssey, and what's the other one? Pokemon Tournament all look to be $99. So get ready to take it hard, people. I just want to
do this real quick, bro, so we can make sure the most people hear this as possible. What if that is the case? You got to pay $100 for a cartridge over there. What's stopping you from maybe getting a hold of me, having me buy it for my price, and just shipping it to you?
Nothing's stopping me at all, and that maybe
I'm willing to do that, buddy. I'm willing to do that for you.
I was going to say, if they're not region-locked games, which I highly doubt.
Yeah, region-locked doesn't really exist much anymore.
I wouldn't blame anybody having someone in the States buy it and shipping it to them for $100. For that price, it's nuts.
I didn't want to drag this out into the show. Obviously, we want to wrap things up, but I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. I mean, like
that is
$40. That's and you know, and I noticed the Sonic one went up 89, but Nintendo's are gone up to 99. So either which way, that's still like even with the currency being as weak as it is, that still doesn't make legitimate sense. So I don't know, man. I've already just voiced my displeasure with Nintendo via Twitter. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. It's been another great podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Back over to you, Crap.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Thank you guys, Noof. It's been a hell of a show. Thank you guys for supporting. We had damn near 800 here at one point or another. Go ahead and hit that like button if you wouldn't mind, and we'll catch you guys later here next week. Rack them up, and we'll catch you guys next time. Be good to each other and play lots of Xbox later.